Every night, I would smear my girlfriend's feet with stinky mud and sprinkle a pound of flour on them, then immediately pretend to be asleep. As for her, she would wake up at 2 a.m. every night, pluck one of my hairs, and sneak out. So, I followed the footprints she left on the ground. But unexpectedly, just as I was about to find out what the hell she was up to, I saw by the side of the road a little girl about to be hit by a massive truck. In the nick of time, I rushed over and saved her, but I was sent flying 30 feet, lying there on my last breath. Right as my heart was about to stop beating, a cold mechanical voice echoed in my head. Billionaire system successfully bound. The 100 to billion billionaire fund has been transferred to the host, Yi Chuan. Black Card acquired the skill Golden Eyes, capable of seeing through the value of all things and the hearts of people. Acquired the skill Grandmaster of Fist and Staff, capable of fighting 100 men. My eyes snapped open, feeling my current body, surging with unprecedented power. I could even see and hear things from 3 miles away. Less than 2 minutes later, an aggressive black car screeched to a halt in front of me, and a pair of long, straight legs, wrapped in black silk stockings, hurriedly stepped out. She frantically rushed toward the crowd. Little Tanguo, where are you? Auntie. The little girl I saved burst into tears. The woman rushed over and pulled little Tanguo into her arms. After confirming she only had minor scratches, she looked up at me, her eyes filled with deep gratitude. Sir, thank you for saving little Tanguo. I am Su Yunshu of the Su Group. Please tell me, what can I do for you? Even if it bankrupts the Su family, I won't refuse. I stared at the woman in front of me, and her information instantly appeared on my retinas. Age, 25. Identity, CEO of the Su Group. Net worth, over 800 billion. If it were before today, this would have been my best chance to turn my life around in this city, clinging to the Su family to demand a massive reward. Even if I now possess 10 billion, it's not even a fraction of the Su family's wealth. But I just quietly looked at her, dropped a simple no need, and disappeared into the stormy night. Su Yunshu watched my back, turning to instruct her assistant behind her. Investigate. I want to know everything about him in 3 minutes. He is my benefactor. I, Su Yunshu, will absolutely not let him just disappear like that. As for me, after returning home, I immediately locked my eyes on the 2 people on the wall. My Golden Eyes' skills. Memory recall function activated very quickly. I found out that the mastermind who killed my parents was my stepmother, Yao Yulan, and my girlfriend, Su Mengyao, who sneaked out every night, was actually going to meet a rich kid. Great. Then I'll start by dealing with my stepmother, and then that guy surnamed Zhou. I want Su Mengyao, and the rich playboy she's seeing, to not even have a stable source of income, reduced to wandering nobodies, relying on begging to survive. Early the next morning, I stepped into the Lin family villa. The moment I walked in, I heard the sound of smashing coming from the living room, along with Yao Yulan's piercing screams. Stop smashing. I'm almost done sorting it out. Once that brat Lin Chuan, the sole heir, signs over this villa, a stinging slap cut off her wailing. I pushed the door open and walked in. The living room was a total mess. Yao Yulan, who was usually arrogant and domineering, was now kneeling on the floor with disheveled hair, a bright red handprint clearly visible on her face. In the middle of the living room sat Boss Lei, the loan shark kingpin of Jiangcheng, with 4 lackeys gripping iron pipes behind him. I casually strode in, acting as if I saw nothing, and walked straight to the center of the room. Seeing that I dared to ignore him, Boss Lei immediately shouted, reaching out to pat my face. Yo, isn't this the useless young master? I suddenly turned my head to look at Boss Lei. His information instantly appeared in my mind. Target, Zhang Xiao. Combat power, 65. Peak of an ordinary person. Weakness, extremely superstitious, and suffers from a strange illness. I didn't budge, just spoke softly. If your hand touches my face, you'll never be able to hold chopsticks again in your life. And that angina of yours? Does it flare up exactly at midnight every night? Boss Lei's hand suddenly froze. Not even his lackeys knew this secret. How did this punk know? I didn't answer, walking straight to the ransacked antique cabinet, searching for a purple sandalwood box left by my mother. Seeing that Boss Lei didn't make a move, Yao Yulan scrambled up and screamed, Boss Lei, he's the primary heir. Force him to sign the transfer papers, and this house will be yours. Boss Lei's eyes flickered. In the face of a debt worth tens of millions, that little bit of fear was nothing. His face darkened. Boys, hold this punk down. If he doesn't sign today, chop off one of his fingers. Instantly, the 4 lackeys swung their iron pipes and charged at me. With my back to them, I let out a sigh. Why do you always force me to get physical? Before I even finished speaking, I spun around and delivered a simple side kick. Bam! The first lackey to rush up was hit like a truck, flying backward over 15 feet, slamming hard into the wall, and passing out on the spot. The entire scene fell dead silent. The other 3 slammed on the brakes so hard their shoes nearly caught fire, gulping nervously. I pulled my leg back. Next to the coffee table, I found the sandalwood box, my mother's relic. I wiped off the dust and turned to look at Yao Yulin, who was standing there like a statue. Didn't you always want this house? And the Lin family's fortune? Well, now I'm giving it to you. Yao Yulin was stunned. I looked at Boss Lei, a faint smirk playing on my lips, and pulled out the black bank card. Got a card reader? Yes. It's 58 million in total. I tossed the card over. Swipe it all. A look of mad joy erupted in Yao Yulin's eyes. This idiot was actually paying off her debt. She immediately trembled with excitement. Lin Chuan, at least you know what's good for you. Since you've paid it off for me, we're completely done with each other. Get out. This house is now entirely mine. But the next second, my words threw her straight into hell. Who said I was paying off your debt? This money is the fee I used to buy out this debt. From now on, you owe me. Yao Yulan's smile froze. Boss Lei immediately reacted, his expression shifting instantly, as he glared fiercely at Yao Yulan. Boss Yao, your creditor is now young Master Lin. Oh right, young Master Lin. Is there anything I can do for you? Need me to help you collect the interest? Boss Lei decided he had to cling tightly to a big shot like me. I carried the sandalwood box to the door, stopped, and looked at Yao Yulan. First, move out of this villa immediately. I don't want to hear a peep, leave empty-handed. Don't even take a single piece of clothing with you. Second, pay off the debt in full within 3 days. 1 second late, and I'll call the cops. I'll sue you for fraud and embezzlement. Boss Lei, if you don't supervise Yao Yulan to make sure she meets the deadline, I'll sue you for intentional assault. The camera at the door is proof. That's enough charges to let you rot in jail. With that, I strode out of the villa. Behind me came Yao Yulin's gut-wrenching wails, along with the sound of Boss Lei's men starting to clear the scene. Listening to those sounds, I stood under the sunlight, feeling utterly refreshed. But the next second, the system issued a new mission. Please spend 100 million within 2 hours. Penalty for failure. Randomly deduct one of the host's bodily functions. For example, permanently lasting only 3 seconds. I looked at this penalty, my mouth twitching. System, you're really ruthless. But spending money? I'm afraid this is the easiest mission in the world. I hailed a cab and headed straight to SKP, the most high-end mall in Zhongcheng. Just as I got out of the car, a red Ferrari roared arrogantly and screeched to a halt right in front of me. The window rolled down, revealing my ex-girlfriend, Xu Mengyao. She took off her sunglasses. Yo, isn't this Lin Chuan? I heard you got kicked out of your house and started delivering food. Why are you delivering to such a high-end place? Hemph. The security here won't let beggars. Step inside. Back when the Lin family first ran into trouble, Xu Mengyao dumped me at the speed of light and threw herself into the arms of a rich kid. I looked at her, and instead of getting angry, I chuckled. My money-spending mission was just missing an audience. But I'm not here to beg today. I'm here to buy this entire mall. At this moment, the car door opened, and Xu Mengyao stepped out, clinging to the arm of a guy wearing a Versace shirt. His beady eyes scanned me from head to toe, with a mocking look on his face. Yao Yao, is this your food delivery ex-boyfriend? The AC here charges by the minute. Does one delivery pay enough for you to enjoy it for 10 minutes? Xu Mengyao clung to the man's arm, laughing so hard her whole body shook. Yi Chuan, let me introduce you. This is my current husband, Zhou Haoyu. His family is in the building materials business, with assets worth hundreds of millions. She deliberately emphasized hundreds of millions, looking at me provocatively, seemingly expecting to see an inferiority complex, anger, or utter humiliation on my face. However, she was disappointed. I just stood there calmly, my eyes as indifferent, as if I were looking at thin air, then strode forward, my tone flat. Humph, doing things the hard way, huh? Zhou Haoyu was enraged by my disregard, taking a step forward to block my path, reaching out to shove my shoulder. The moment Zhou Haoyu's hand was about to touch me, deep within my pupils, a golden light flashed. Zhou Haoyu's information instantly appeared. Target, Zhou Haoyu. Identity, fake rich kid, all bark and no bite. Current equipment, Versace shirt, authentic. Richard Mille RM11 watch, high-end fake, domestic Dandong movement. Gucci belt, financial status, overdrawn credit cards, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Pursuing Xu Mengyao, rented a Ferrari, hasn't even finished paying the one-day rental fee. After reading this, the curve of my lips immediately became full of hidden meaning. I stepped closer to Zhou Haoyu, lowering my voice, but just enough, for a few passersby to hear. What a pity. The carbon fiber case of a Richard Mille has a random pattern, but yours looks a bit too neat. Also, the date window on the real thing has an instant jump mechanism. It's 1:59 right now. How about we wait and see if this watch of yours can jump to the new number at exactly 2 o'clock. Zhou Haoyu's face instantly changed. This watch was indeed a fake he bought for 3,000 yuan, specifically used to trick gold diggers like Xu Mengyao. Bullshit. Mine is a real watch. What the hell do you know? Zhou Haoyu subconsciously clutched his wrist, acting tough but panicking inside as he roared. Yao Yao, ignore this mad dog. Let's go. We're going to Hermes to buy you a bag. Saying that, he pulled the bewildered Xu Mengyao and tried to rush into the mall, clearly wanting to flee the scene. What a coincidence. I was just about to go in and buy some things too. Let's go together. This is SKP. If you can afford even a pair of socks here, I'll eat them raw on the spot. Remember your words. I walked through the revolving doors, entering the cool lobby of the mall. The first floor of SKP gathered the world's top luxury brands, with the faint scent of expensive perfume lingering in the air. Bring out the most expensive watch in your store. I want to pick one for my girlfriend. As he spoke, he shot me a provocative glance. What? The delivery boy came in to leech off the AC too. Be careful not to break the display cases. Selling yourself wouldn't be enough to pay for it. The saleswomen in the store were very perceptive, immediately surrounding Zhou Haoyu, while I was coldly left to the side. Only a young girl fresh out of school, wearing an intern badge on her chest, hesitantly walked up to me, handing me a glass of water. Hello, sir. How may I help you? It's totally fine if you just want to look around. Her eyes were clear, showing no disdain for my appearance. I took a sip of water and replied flatly, I'm not looking. Hear that? He's not looking. I told you he just came in to leech off the AC. Ha ha ha. A veteran saleswoman walked over, her tone stiff. Sir, if you're not buying anything, please don't take up our customer service resources. There's a resting area over there. I didn't bother paying attention to her and pointed at the Starry Sky watch in the middle of the display case. This Starry Sky one. And this whole row. I'll take them all. The entire scene fell dead silent. Haha. Yao Yao. Did you hear that? He said he'll take them all. This whole lot adds up to over 20 million yuan. Has this brat gone crazy from delivering food? Zhou Haoyu burst into exaggerated laughter. Sir, please don't joke around. If you keep talking nonsense, I'll call security. The veteran saleswoman's face immediately darkened, thinking I was deliberately causing trouble. Sir, that two-piece Starry Sky watch is 2.8 million yuan. The intern girl was also panicked, stammering a reminder. I reached into the pocket of my cheap jeans, pulled out a pitch-black card, and gently placed it on the display case, making a crisp click. The pin is 6/8. If it doesn't go through, I'll chew up and swallow this display case. My voice wasn't loud, but it carried an undeniable aura of authority. The intern girl tremblingly took the card, looking pleadingly at the store manager, Fang Kaiming. Fang Kaiming was an experienced, middle-aged man who had been observing me the whole time. The moment he saw that black card, his pupils shrank to pinpricks. That was the legendary Bai Fucheng Limitless Black Card. No. That's not right. Its material is even more premium than a black card. This is the Supreme Dragon card, with only exactly 10 in the entire world. Hurry up and bring the POS machine here. I'll swipe it myself. Who are you trying to fool with a barbershop membership card? Let's see what you can swipe out of it. Zhu Haoyu was still putting up a last-ditch struggle. The beep of the POS machine rang out like a final judgment. Fang Kaiming looked at the long string of zeros, realizing for the first time what a terrifying existence he was facing. These watches, we will pack them up for you immediately. May I ask if you'd like them delivered to your residence or handled otherwise? Fang Kaiming almost dropped to his knees in front of me. No need. I just spat out 2 words, but it left everyone speechless. I casually picked up the 2.8 million yuan Starry Sky watch, strapped it right onto my wrist, and shook it a few times. Find a plastic bag for the rest. I want to carry them out. A plastic bag? Fang Kaiming was dumbfounded. Tens of millions of yuan worth of watches, and he wants to put them in a plastic bag? Zhou Haoyu and Xu Mengyao were also completely petrified. How is this possible? Didn't the Lin family go bankrupt? Didn't he get kicked out of his house? His face stung. He had just been showing off his 1.5 million fake watch, and this guy turned around and bought over 20 million in authentic goods, packing them to go like he was buying a bunch of cabbages. Xu Mengyao was even more dumbfounded, staring blankly at me, my wrist adorned with the sparkling Starry Sky watch, her guts turning green with regret. Yi Chuan. Xu Mengyao's voice trembled as she forced a flirtatious smile, shaking off Zhou Haoyu's arm and sidling up to me. So you were just testing me. Actually, I've never been able to forget you. That Zhou Haoyu just kept pestering me and wouldn't let go. Love him. I don't love him at all. Get lost. I didn't even bother looking at her, just throwing back a single word. Who was it just now that said they wanted to eat socks? I turned to look at Zhou Haoyu, whose face was pale as a sheet. Zhou Haoyu backed up, bumping into the display case. What? What do you want? My dad is. I have no interest in your dad. I turned and walked out, and as I brushed past the veteran saleswoman who had despised me, my footsteps paused slightly. Give all the commission for this order to her. I pointed at the intern girl. As for you, I don't want to see you here next time. Understood. Right away. I'll fire Xiaowen immediately. Hurry up and thank this gentleman. Your commission today is enough to buy a house in Jiangcheng. Go to the Gucci store next door. Grab a few limited edition crocodile leather suitcases and bring them here to pack the clothes. Wrap up 100 full-size La Mer sets for me. Send them to my bros at the delivery station for hand cream. Over the next hour, the entire SKP mall experienced an unprecedented earthquake. A mysterious tycoon dressed in Uniqlo, sweeping through like an unstoppable army, went on a spending bloodbath across all the major luxury boutiques. I didn't even bother looking at the price tags, leaving behind only one phrase: swipe the card, wrap it up. The general manager of the mall personally led 20 security guards trailing behind me, acting as my dedicated bag carriers. Zhou Haoyu and Xu Menyao, like two forgotten clowns, trailed behind in a daze. Where the hell did he get all that money? It has to be dirty money. I'm going to report him. Dear valued customers, SKP will be closing half an hour early today. A VIP guest has booked the entire rooftop garden restaurant on the top floor and invited the renowned pianist, Mr. Lang Ye, for a live performance. The whole crowd erupted in shock. I stood at the top of the second-floor escalator, the corners of my lips curling up slightly. This was also one of the consumption tasks arranged by the system. The service fee for this alone burned through 5 million yuan. I glanced at the system panel. Congratulations to the host for completing the first splurge achievement. Issuing reward, 10x critical cashback. 1 billion in cash has been transferred to your account. The transfer agreement for 51% of Jiangcheng SKP Mall's shares is now in effect. Charm plus 10, physique plus 10. Mission accomplished. I froze for a second. SKP is mine now. The mall's general manager had just received a phone call. Boss, I didn't know you were gracing us with your presence. Please forgive my lack of a proper welcome. I am Zhao Zhiyuan, general manager of SKP. You have acquired 51% of the group's shares. From now on, you call the shots around here. This sudden groveling left everyone around completely dumbfounded. Zhou Haoyu collapsed to the ground in terror. I looked down at Zhao Zhiyuan kneeling on the floor. Get up. Since I'm the boss, I'll issue my first order right now. These two are ruining my shopping mood. Throw them out. From now on, all SKP-affiliated malls ban these two from ever stepping foot inside. Also, that fake watch on the guy's wrist is a real eyesore. Take it off for him. Do it. The 20 security guards lunged forward like starving tigers. Let go of me. Lin Chuan. It's me, Yao Yao. I'm the one you love the most. My dad won't let you get away with this. Zhou Haoyu was still screaming his head off, but the next second, he was pinned to the ground, forcibly stripped of his fake watch, which was then stomped to pieces. Their miserable screams faded into the distance. I stood at the very top of the escalator, looking down at the commercial empire that now belonged to me. My phone rang, an unknown number. Hello, is this Mr. Lin Chuan? I'm Su Yunshu. I heard you just acquired SKP. I'm currently at the cafe on the ground floor of SKP. Su Yunshu had been here this whole time. Sure, I happen to be hungry anyway, but I don't drink coffee. I want to eat malatang. Is President Su willing to join me? All right, as long as you're willing to meet me. I hung up the phone, smiling brightly. Looks like the next game is going to be a lot more interesting. Jiangcheng's night was like a thick block of ink, pierced by the hustle and bustle of the old town, carving out a bizarre hole of light. She looked like a noble who had wandered into the slums, carefully tiptoeing past the uneven puddles. Before stopping in front of Sister Pang's skewer hotpot, the car door opened automatically, and Su Yunshu stepped out. I was sitting on a red plastic stool by the street, looking up while splitting a pair of disposable chopsticks. What's wrong, President Su? Too dirty for you? Have a seat. The beef balls here are the most tender and chewy in all of Jiangcheng. Su Yunshu took a deep breath and sat down across from me. Mr. Lin, you have quite a sense of humor. I thought a big shot, who casually buys out the entire SKP mall, would have stricter standards for their dining environment. Money is meant to give you freedom in life, not to put a yoke around your own neck. Order whatever you want, President Su. I already said it's your treat. Don't hold back just because it's cheap. Looking at the menu with 2 yuan beef balls and 1 yuan seaweed, her expression was complicated. She had investigated me. 24 hours ago, I was just a delivery guy, risking my life in the rain for a few measly bucks. Yet here I was, sitting right across from her, with a profound aura that even a seasoned business veteran like her couldn't see through. Just get whatever, Mr. Lin, let's get down to business. Regarding you saving Xiao Tangguo and your acquisition of SKP. Shh, no talking about work while eating. Food's here. Xiao Chuan, you brought your girlfriend today? She's so pretty. You look so skinny, girl. Eat up. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. This meal is on Sister Pang. Ha ha. No. No, I'm his creditor. Try it. The soul of this place is in this vinegar bottle. Interrupted by me like that, Su Yunshu's tense, defensive demeanor instantly halved. She hesitated for a moment, but then picked up a piece of cabbage and put it in her mouth. Spicy and piping hot, the intense explosion of sour and spicy flavors made her cough uncontrollably. tears welling up in her eyes. Eat slowly. Nobody's fighting you for it. Su Yunshu took the tissue, wiping the corners of her mouth somewhat awkwardly. In that very moment, it was as if she had shed her usual impenetrable armor, revealing a lively, down-to-earth side. Lin Chuan, thank you. Not just for saving Xiao Tangguo, but actually, the SKP side has been making it difficult to renew our company's advertising spots. If you hadn't acquired SKP, the Su Group's new product launch next month would have probably been dead in the water. I leisurely chewed on a beef ball, while silently activating the golden eye. Strings of red data above Su Yunshu's head began dancing wildly. Target: Su Yunshu. Identity: CEO of the Su Group. Current status: framed and suppressed by competitor. Tiansheng Capital. Capital deficit reaching 800 million. Core Crisis 1. Broken cash flow. Framed and sabotaged by competitor Tiansheng Capital. Cash flow deficit of 800 million. Core Crisis 2. Internal trader. Design director Ding Peng has been bribed by Tiansheng Capital, planning to leak the core reserve price at tomorrow morning's bidding. Core Crisis 3. Signed a gambling agreement with the Family Council of Elders. If this quarter fails to turn a profit, will be stripped of her CEO position and forced into an arranged marriage with the eldest young master of Tiansheng Capital. My chewing suddenly stopped. Tragic. Too tragic. This isn't a female CEO anymore. This is clearly a piece of Tang Monk's meat being roasted over a fire. I put down my chopsticks, looking at her with a faint smile. Forgive my bluntness. What you're worrying about right now definitely isn't the event venue, is it? As far as I know, your company's accounts right now. I'm afraid even the rental fee for SKP, you can't even scrape together. Su Yunshu stared at me blankly. How do you know? The company's financial status is top secret. Even the vice president doesn't know. Are you a corporate spy? I'm your lifesaver. I slowly pulled out a tissue, naturally grabbed her hand, and helped her wipe the grease off the back of her hand. My warm, slender fingers touched her ice-cold skin. Su Yunshu pulled her hand back as if electrocuted, but ultimately didn't pull it away completely. Moreover, not only do I know you're out of money, I also know the reason you're in such a miserable state is because there's a mole by your side. Su Yunshu's face instantly paled. Right at that moment, her phone buzzed violently. The screen displayed Design Director Ding Peng. She shot me a glance. I gestured for her to go ahead. Hello, Director Ding. How are the preparations for tomorrow's bidding documents going? An anxious and guilty voice came from the other end. President Su, something terrible has happened. Our servers were just attacked by hackers. All the designs for the Oasis project, from the source files to the data, everything is locked down. It's all destroyed. The backup hard drives are corrupted too. Su Yunshu shot up from her seat, the sudden movement knocking over the plastic stool behind her. How is that possible? Our firewall is state-of-the-art, and the backup drives are in the safe in your office. How could they be corrupted? I don't know either. President Su, the bidding is at 9 a.m. tomorrow. There's absolutely no time to redo it now. Tiansheng Capital seems to have their proposal completely ready. We're doomed. The phone slipped from her hand, dropping to the ground with a thud. It was as if her spine had been ripped out. She went limp and was about to collapse, forgetting that her stool had been knocked over. Just as she was about to fall onto the greasy ground, I reached out a hand and caught her securely. Great acting. The Oscars owe you a golden statuette. Who are you? Where's President Su? I sneered into the phone. Who I am isn't important. What's important is Ding Peng. You better start praying right now that the 20 million yuan bribe Tiansheng Capital gave you is enough to buy a decent wheelchair. With that, I hung up the call immediately and tossed the phone back onto the table. Su Yunshu leaned against my chest, her whole body trembling, her eyes hollow. At this moment, she was no longer some icy female CEO, but just a desperate and helpless woman. It's all over. That was my only chance to turn things around. Without the designs, tomorrow will be a breach of contract. I'll have to pay 300 million yuan in compensation. The Su family will eat me alive. What are you panicking for? My voice rang out clearly amidst the noisy night market. That calmness carried a magical power that put people at ease. I helped Su Yunshu stand up straight, placed my hands on her shoulders, and forced her to look me in the eyes. If the designs are gone, redraw them. If the money is gone, earn it back. As long as you're not dead, this game isn't over. Redraw them. There's no time. There's less than 10 hours left. That was 3 months of sleepless nights and hard work from dozens of designers. Who says there's no time? I let go of her, turned around, and picked up the pile of designer bags from the ground, my eyes flashing with the thrill of a hunter spotting its prey. Let's go. Where? To your company. If that guy Ding Peng says the data is destroyed, then I'll open his eyes and show him what a miracle looks like. Tonight, we're going ghost hunting. At the design headquarters, everyone was in a chaotic frenzy, trying to fix the issue, but out of the corner of his eye, Ding Peng kept glancing at his watch, a barely noticeable, smug smile hidden at the corner of his mouth. As long as he stalled through the night, tomorrow Once Su Yunshu falls from power, he could take the money and jump ship to Tiansheng capital as their vice president. Right at this moment, a commotion came from outside the door. President Su is here. Ding Peng instantly put on an expression of extreme anguish and immediately went to greet her. President Su, you're finally here. I've failed you. However, he didn't see the broken and desperate Su Yunshu he had imagined. Instead, she strode in with long steps, and although the corners of her eyes were still a bit red, her aura was 10,000 times sharper than usual. And walking closely beside her was a young man, wearing an expensive Armani suit, yet carrying a takeout box of skewer hot pot in his hand. President Su, who is this? Ding Peng was stunned. I'm delivering food. I casually placed the bag of skewer hot pot on the conference table, then walked straight toward Ding Peng. Ding Peng got goosebumps from my stare. This. President Su, at a critical time like this, you're bringing an outsider to cause trouble? Director Ding, your acting skills are a bit too exaggerated. I pointed at the row of black computer screens. You said the servers were attacked by hackers? The data is all destroyed? Of course. The tech department is still doing everything they can to fix it, right? Host is using god-tier hacker skill, infiltrating local network, tracing data flow, restoring low-level code. What kind of hand speed is this? Is he writing a reverse tracking program? In less than a minute, I slammed the enter key. The large pitch-black screen suddenly lit up, displaying extracted surveillance footage. The screen clearly showed Ding Peng half an hour ago, plugging a USB drive into the server, along with a detailed chat history sent to a contact saved as Tiansheng, President Zhao, with the content 5053 to 4, 889 to 5. Data has been deleted. That dumb bitch is finished. The entire room fell dead silent. The gazes of all the designers turned as sharp as knives, shooting simultaneously toward Ding Peng. Ding Peng's face instantly This is edited. I'm being framed. President Su, you don't believe me, but you believe a delivery guy. Su Yunshu looked up at the big screen, her heart aching as if being sliced open. Security sees this ungrateful bastard. Call the police immediately. Yes, ma'am. The security guards, who had been holding back for a long time, immediately rushed forward. You dare arrest me? Without my design team. Tomorrow you're dead meat anyway. Ha ha ha. Let's see how you turn this around. As he was dragged away, Ding Peng was still howling with maniacal laughter. Catching the mole was indeed satisfying, but the designs had truly vanished into thin air. The whole office sank back into a desperate silence. The head of the tech department timidly spoke up. Oh, great master, if you could restore the camera footage, can the design blueprints still be saved? He wiped them physically. They're beyond saving. I gently shook my head. Everyone's hearts plummeted straight to the bottom of an abyss. But I suddenly changed the subject, walked over to the head of the conference table, and sat down. I opened the lid of the skewer hot pot box and said nonchalantly, those garbage designs, if they're destroyed, so be it. Using that trash for the bidding would only be an embarrassment anyway. What did you just say? The assistant design director shouted indignantly. That was 3 months of our blood, sweat, and tears. I ignored the angry crowd and just turned to look at her. Got a stylus? And a tablet. Su Yunshu blanked out for a moment, instinctively handing me the tablet and the stylus. What are you going to do? Right at this moment in my mind, the system shop booted up again. Detected host's need for god-tier rescue. Initiating item exchange. Top-tier futuristic advertising drafts. 2035 edition. Exchange successful. Instantly, flooding into my eyes, were countless inspirations, era-transcending colors, from line work to composition. A visual shock from the future. Since you guys considered that stuff your life's work, then tonight, I'll teach you all what true art really is. Over the course of the next hour, the entire design department of the Su Group experienced their worldview shattering and being rebuilt. The man they had dismissed as a food delivery guy was now no different from a humanoid AI printer. His hand speed blurred into afterimages. Exquisite, peerless designs, with bold, groundbreaking concepts were born on the screen one after another. From shading to perspective, everything was as flawless as a miracle. My God, the perfect fusion of cyberpunk and guokao. This lighting treatment. Good heavens, a masterpiece. When the final key visual was completed, I tossed the stylus down and rolled my wrists. On the screen is a poster titled Rebirth. Amidst a desolate, ruined backdrop, a mechanical rose blooms proudly in the storm. That imagery is exactly like me. And just like Su Yunshu, drowning in despair, Su Yunshu stared blankly at the artwork, tears silently falling down her face. Lin Chuan. She turned her head, looking straight at the man, who was still looking down, eating his cold skewer hot pot. At this moment, the defenses in her heart completely crumbled. Don't get emotional just yet. I swallowed the last beef meatball. The drawing is done. Next, it's time to reel in the net. At tomorrow morning's bidding, I'll make Tiansheng Capital spit out every single cent they ate, with interest. I slowly stood up, walked over to the floor-to-ceiling window, and gazed out at the vast night view of Jiangsheng. President Su, Do you dare to play a high-stakes game with me? Su Yunshu stepped closer, standing shoulder to shoulder with me. There was no longer any hesitation in her eyes, only a stubborn, unwavering light. Why wouldn't I, even if we lose? At worst, I'll just go deliver food with you. I'm afraid that won't do, because my passenger seat is reserved only for the boss lady. At the Jiangcheng International Exhibition Center. Today is the final bidding day for the landmark project of Jiangcheng's new urban area, the Future City Commercial Complex. This is a massive piece of meat worth hundreds of billions, deciding who will become the business overlord of Jiangcheng for the next 10 years. A ridiculously flashy neon green Lamborghini with an ear-piercing roar arrogantly screeched into a VIP parking spot, even crossing the lines. The scissor doors swung up, and a young man stepped out, wearing a white suit with slick back hair. It was Song Zixuan, the crown prince of Tianshan capital. Following behind him was the sycophantic face of Ding Peng, the guy who just made bail last night. Young Master Song, rest assured, Su Yunshu is completely finished. Ding Peng sported two black panda eyes, his face still swollen, but his eyes were full of excitement. I personally wiped all the data and completely erased it with a strong magnet. Unless a golden immortal descends to Earth. Otherwise, she'll have to hand in a blank sheet today and make a total fool of herself. Good job. Once the Su family goes bankrupt, that arrogant bitch Su Yunshu will be entirely at my mercy. Just as he finished speaking, a black Audi A6 slowly pulled in. It was Su Yunshu's car. Compared to the supercars around it, this car looked far too modest, even a bit shabby. Song Zixuan whistled and swaggered over with Ding Peng to block the car door. Well, if it isn't our great beauty of the Su family. The door opened, and Su Yunshu stepped out. After a night of torment and transformation, her condition today was surprisingly excellent. Her peach blossom eyes no longer held a trace of yesterday's anxiety, and from the back seat, I casually stepped out. It was me, Lin Chuan. Today, to match her, I deliberately changed into a dark gray smart casual suit, no tie, no bow tie, yet exuding a lazy, effortlessly aristocratic aura. In my hand, I carried a silver metal briefcase. Young Master Song, a good dog doesn't block the way, Su Yunshu said coldly. You're at death's door and still acting tough. I heard your design department was wailing in despair last night. Even the servers burned down, right? What? Did you come here today to announce your withdrawal, and then beg me to buy out your company? He greedily scanned Su Yunshu's body, lowering his voice. Actually, as long as you obediently come to my room tonight, I can raise the buyout price a little. Before he could even finish, an arm suddenly reached out, waving in front of Song Zixuan's face like swatting a fly. Hey, you. Keep your bad breath to yourself. It's stinking up my boss. Who the hell are you? Is it your turn to speak here? Just a lowly driver. Young Master Song, he's the delivery guy from last night. That's him. His jinxing mouth ruined our plans. Ha ha ha. A delivery guy? Song Zixuan burst out laughing so hard he was bending over. Ha ha ha. Su Yunshu, are you crazy? Bringing a food delivery guy to participate in $100 billion project bidding? Ha ha ha. Are you planning to hand out skewer hot pot to the judges? To bribe them? Ha 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 ha. I quietly activated the golden eye. Target, Song Zixuan. Status, extremely confident, stage 2. Kidney deficiency. Items carried, reserve price file hidden in inner pocket, bribed chief judge, Professor Zheng. Secret code, saved in secure phone. Heh, bribing the judges, huh? How interesting. I smirked and spoke up. Young Master Song, right? Were those fur seal pills you took last night expired? I see your glabella is dark. I'm afraid you're in for a bloody disaster today. And as for that old scholar, Professor Zheng, he has a huge appetite. Your little tea money might not be enough to fill his stomach. Song Zixuan's smile instantly froze. His pupils violently contracted. How does this brat know about the fur seal pills? And more importantly, how does he know about Professor Zheng? Before he could recover his wits, I grabbed Su Yunshu's arm, and as if sidestepping a pile of trash, walked straight toward the elevator. Lin Chuan, what did you just say to him? Why did his face look so awful? Nothing, just read his fortune. President Su, just focus on giving a good PPT presentation. Leave the rest to me. The atmosphere in the bidding hall was thick with tension. 5 judges sat upright at the main table. The bald old man sitting in the middle was the leading expert, Professor Zheng. Below the stage were the big shots of Jiangcheng's business world, along with rows of camera lenses, long and short, densely packed by reporters in the back rows. Next, please welcome the representative of Tianshan Capital to present their proposal. As soon as the MC's voice faded, Song Zixuan led Ding Peng and strode up to the podium. Even though I had scared the living daylights out of him earlier, now that he was on his home turf, he instantly regained his usual arrogant and overbearing demeanor. Respected judges, distinguished guests, the proposal Tianshan Capital brings today is Urban Oasis. We will create a complex that integrates ecology, environmental protection, and technology into a sky garden. As each PPT slide was turned, the audience gasped in amazement, buzzing with discussion. Su Yunshu tightly gripped the hem of her clothes. My knuckles turned white. That was exactly our original proposal. Even though Ding Peng had deleted the Su Group's original files, he had given a copy to Song Zixuan. The current urban oasis, aside from having its name changed, was entirely the Su Group's content, copied pixel by pixel from our previous design. Shameless. This double helix sky corridor structure is our exclusive patent. This photosynthetic glass wall is even more. So, our exclusive, original idea. Below the stage, I let out a sneer and took out my phone. System, infiltrating the hall's projector system. Connection successful. Since you want to play the plagiarism game, then I'll make you famous for it. This is the crystallization of our team's half-year of hard work. Absolutely unique in the world. Right at this moment, the large screen suddenly flickered, turning into a giant split-screen comparison interface. On the left was the urban oasis currently being presented. On the right was the Su Group's internal meeting video record from 3 months ago. The entire hall fell dead silent. Holy shit. Isn't this the Su Group's previous proposal? Even the color scheme is exactly the same. This is blatant theft. A massive company like Tiansheng Capital actually pulls this kind of stunt. On stage, Ding Peng looked like a duck being choked. His voice completely died in his throat. He stared at the large screen in horror, cold sweat instantly soaking his back. What is going on? Who switched the screen? Turn it off. Turn it off right now. President Ding, we're trying. The system is locked. What the hell are you doing? You want me to kill you? I didn't touch it. The computer is out of control. It looks like it's infected with a virus. On the large screen, a massive, blood-red line of text suddenly appeared. The thief's epitaph. The original is dead, because you only know how to pick up trash. Immediately after, the screen went pitch black. Everything returned to normal. I was still sitting in the audience, casually putting my phone away as if nothing had happened, and conveniently unwrapping a mint candy that Su Yunshu had brought for me. Does this count as a broadcasting accident? Su Yunshu stared blankly at the scene, the anger in her heart completely dissipating. No, this is called warming up the crowd. Look at Professor Zhang. His face has turned completely green. Sure enough, Professor Zhang in the judge's seat looked like he was sitting on pins and needles. He had originally taken money to give Tiansheng a high score, but now with the blatant evidence of plagiarism displayed in front of hundreds of people, if he dared to intentionally cover it up, his reputation would be dragged through the mud by tomorrow. Professor Zhang had no choice but to grit his teeth and pick up the microphone. Hello. Tiansheng Capital's proposal is currently involved in a serious dispute. We will temporarily set it aside. Next up, the Su Group. As he walked past me, Song Zixuan lowered his voice. You little brat, you're the one playing tricks, aren't you? Just you wait. Once you step out of these doors, I'll leave your corpse on the street. Is this your attitude when begging? Remember to bring plenty of tissues later. I'm just afraid you'll cry too miserably. The spotlight shone directly on her, like a queen about to be crowned. Ladies and gentlemen, Su Yunshu's voice was cold yet resolute. Just now, everyone saw the so-called urban oasis. That's right, it was once a discarded draft of our Su Group. Why was it a discarded draft? Because it's far too outdated. The entire hall erupted in an uproar. Even though that proposal was suspected of plagiarism, it was still considered top tier in the industry. To not waste everyone's time. Assistant Lin, let's begin. I nodded and opened the silver metal briefcase, but I didn't take out any documents. Instead, I took out a fist-sized black crystal. This was a mini holographic 3D projector that I had exchanged from the system shop. The 2035 edition, priced at 5 million. I placed the crystal right in the center of the stage. The judges all craned their necks to look. The next second, a deep blue beam of light shot up into the air, instantly diffusing and enveloping the entire exhibition center hall. The brightly lit hall suddenly plunged into darkness. In its place was an ultra-realistic virtual city, massive and suspended in midair. No more rigid PPT slides, nor 2D rendered images. Everyone felt as if they had instantly time-traveled, stepping into a futuristic metropolis, heavily steeped in cyberpunk style. Giant neon signs flashed overhead, and you could even clearly see the expressions of the virtual pedestrians strolling down the street. And at the very center of this place, a building resembling a blooming mechanical lotus slowly rotated. That was the Su Group's new proposal, Rebirth Lotus. My god, what kind of technology is this? Glasses-free 3D? No, this is a holographic projection. What am I even looking at? Is this a Hollywood blockbuster set? This design is absolutely mind-blowing. Compared to this, that urban oasis from earlier is utter garbage. The entire hall was boiling over with excitement. The reporters snapped photos like crazy, the camera flashes lighting up the scene as bright as day. Su Yunshu stood amidst that giant phantom lotus, like a fairy born from a flower. She reached out and gently swiped across the virtual interface. The entire building instantly disassembled and reassembled, showcasing its internal details, and a breathtakingly spectacular commercial ecosystem. We do not define the future. We create the future. There was no suspense left. This was a massacre, an overwhelming, multidimensional crushing blow from a higher plane. Professor Zheng, who had wanted to nitpick earlier, was now gaping so wide that his dentures were about to fall out. Faced with such a miracle, if he dared to say a single word of no, he'd probably be torn to shreds by the fanatic crowd. I give it a perfect score. This is a work of art. This is an epoch-making masterpiece. Another judge excitedly jumped up and applauded. Thunderous applause erupted, echoing endlessly. Below the stage, Song Zixuan's face was ashen. He slumped into his chair. He knew it was over. No matter how much money he had, or how deep his connections ran, in the face of this absolute, crushing display of true power, it all turned into a joke. We won. Su Yunshu looked at the cheering crowd below, her eyes slightly red. She looked toward me. I held and admired that $5 million crystal in my hand, gave her a wink, and mouthed the word, won. The bidding concluded. The Su Group, with an absolute advantage, secured the Future City project. As soon as the news broke, the Su Group's stock price, which had hit rock bottom, instantly shot up in a straight vertical line, breaking through 30303020303000, AS 50005022205030, 053-052-050-2050-2050-50-2050-2058-305020, locking firmly at the daily limit. 3330, locked at the daily limit. President Su, may I ask if that holographic technology was independently developed by your company? President Su, who is the chief designer of that proposal? Could you introduce them? Su Yunshu struggled to squeeze out of the crowd, looking around frantically. She was looking for me. However, that greatest contributor was nowhere to be found. In a small alley behind the exhibition center, I was leaning against the wall, taking a drag of my cigarette. Kneeling in front of me were two people. One was a battered and bruised Ding Peng, and the other was a trembling Song Zixuan. And surrounding them were over a dozen men in black suits, wearing sunglasses, looking huge and menacing. Leading them was Brother Lei, the loan shark now serving as my head of security. Young Master Lin, I was wrong. I had eyes but failed to see Mount Tai. Song Zixuan didn't have an ounce of arrogance left. He looked at the wrist-thick steel pipe in Brother Lei's hand, so terrified he literally pissed his pants. Please spare me. I'm the only son of the Song family. I'll give you however much money you want. I exhaled a puff of smoke and squatted down. Money? Do you think I lack money? I smiled, pulled out a check, filled in a string of numbers, and threw it right in Song Zixuan's face. Here's 10 million. Consider it mental compensation for calling me a delivery guy earlier. Of course, this is the fee you're compensating me with, not me giving it to you. Song Zixuan was dumbfounded. I compensate. Right. I don't lack money, but I really hate it when others owe me money. Brother Lei. Haha. Yes, sir. Young Master Lin, rest assured. I'm very experienced in this line of work. Brother Lei sneered and stepped closer. I stood up, completely ignoring the piercing screams behind me. Just as I stepped out of the alley, my phone rang. Lin Xuan, where are you? The celebration party is about to start. You're the main character. If you don't come, I won't start the party. Forget about the celebration party. I don't like those kinds of occasions. I looked into the distance. On the CBD building, a giant billboard was broadcasting the Su Group's advertisement. President Su, don't forget our promise. Save that passenger seat for me. Su Yunshu on the other end of the line fell silent for 2 seconds. Lin Xuan, I don't need a passenger seat. I want you to be the driver. To drive this car for a lifetime. Do you agree? This was practically a confession. I paused for a moment. Suddenly, the system in my head let out an ear-piercing red alarm. Warning! Warning! Detected excessive use of future technology by the host. You have attracted the attention of an underworld organization. An S-rank crisis is approaching. Top global assassin organization, Black Mamba. Assassination order received. Target, Lin Xuan. Bounty, $100 million. Client, the Song family, Song Zixuan's father. 30-minute countdown. The first wave of assassins will arrive at the battlefield. That old man from the Song family. I beat up the kid, so the old geezer comes for revenge. I spoke coldly to Su Yunshu on the other end of the line. Yunshu, the celebration party is cancelled. Go home immediately. Lock all the doors and windows. Mobilize all of Brother Lei's men to surround your villa. No matter what you hear, do not go outside. What's wrong, Lin Xuan? You're scaring me. It's nothing. I looked up into the distance, where a pitch-black helicopter was hovering in the sky. Just some trash that needs to be cleaned up. This time, I'll let the entire underworld of Jiangcheng know who the true king really is. At the old industrial park slated for demolition, the air felt as heavy and frozen as lead. That black helicopter didn't open fire immediately. Instead, like a circling vulture, After hovering for 2 laps, it stopped and hovered in midair, above an abandoned building 1,000 meters away. I stood in the middle of the deserted intersection, the cigarette between my fingers burning down to the filter. Come out. A supposedly top-tier international assassin organization, yet you skulk around in the sewers like a bunch of rats. The surroundings sank into a dead silence. Suddenly, an incredibly faint sound of tearing air rang out. If it were an ordinary person, their skull would have already been blown wide open by that custom armor-piercing bullet. But I'm no ordinary person. Under the vision of my golden eye, the bullet hurtling toward me at Mach 3, trailing a long orange tail of fire, was as slow as a snail. I didn't even bother to move my feet. I just slightly tilted my head, a movement so small it was almost negligible. Whoosh! The bullet grazed the ends of my hair and flew past, slamming into the space behind me. It embedded itself into a concrete pillar, blowing out a crater the size of a bowl. I looked up, my gaze piercing through the 500-meter distance, locking accurately onto the target, the sniper hiding behind that billboard. Is this all you've got? Black Mamba is nothing special. 500 meters away, on the roof of the abandoned building, the sniper codenamed Viper looked through his infrared scope. Seeing the man still rooted to the spot, even pointing his thumb straight down in this direction, cold sweat instantly soaked his combat suit. Captain, reporting. Target 1 dodged it. I repeat, he dodged the bullet. That was an M200 sniper rifle, from a distance of 500 meters. How is this even possible? Shut up. Team B, Team C, move out. Take down the target quickly. Don't give him a chance to breathe. Copy that. With the order given, from the shadows all around the old industrial park, 12 dark figures suddenly dashed out, as swift as phantoms. They wore full-body tactical exoskeleton armor, wielding suppressed tactical submachine guns, and high-frequency vibrating daggers. Their movements were perfectly synchronized, like a silent pack of wolves, surrounding and ambushing me from all sides. I stood right in the center of their encirclement, without a single trace of fear on my face. Instead, a hint of bloodthirsty excitement showed. System. I want to buy something. Detected that the host is in an S-rank combat environment. Smart store recommendations activated. 1. Absolute defense shield. Single use. Price 50 million. Can block all attacks except nuclear bombs. Lasts for 10 minutes. 2. Grandmaster level Baji Quan skill. Permanent. Price 200 million. I choose Baji Quan. 200 million funds deducted. Implanting Grandmaster Baji Quan muscle memory. Implantation complete. Too slow. Baji Quan. Iron Mountain lean. I didn't even need to throw a punch. I just slightly lowered my shoulder, then lunged forward, ramming into the assassin on my left. With a sickening, muffled thud, that assassin, wearing a Kevlar bulletproof vest, and even equipped with outer exoskeleton armor, was hit as if by a speeding semi-truck, taking the hit head-on. His entire body flew backward like a cannonball, smashing right through a red brick wall by the roadside. The remaining 10 assassins slammed on the brakes, their eyes filled with absolute terror, smashing right through a red brick wall by the roadside. The remaining 10 assassins slammed on the brakes, their eyes filled with absolute terror. Open fire. Shoot, don't let him get close. Bang, 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 out. Countless muzzle flashes erupted in the blink of an eye. A dense hail of bullets poured down on me like a torrential storm. But I was already moving. My footwork, enhanced by Baji Quan, made me look like a phantom flash of lightning, weaving through the rain of bullets. With my golden eye pushed to its absolute limit, the trajectory of every single bullet turned into crystal clear lines before my eyes. For the ones I couldn't dodge, I simply reached out my hand. My fingers flicked as fast as lightning, and right there in midair, I caught a bullet firmly between them. Monster. He's a monster. Now it's my turn. I tossed the bullet aside and dashed forward. The next 3 minutes were a one-sided massacre. My silhouette was like the Grim Reaper's scythe. Wherever I went, bodies fell. Heart-piercing elbow. Yama's three-point hand. Ground-shaking, heaven-piercing cannon. Every move was simple and direct, yet packed with devastating power. The exoskeleton armor in front of me was no different from flimsy, easily torn papier-mâché. One assassin tried to attack with an anti-tank rocket launcher, but before he could even pull the trigger, I kicked and snapped his arm. The launcher dropped to the ground, exploding with a loud boom and blasting the assassin himself into the sky. When I kicked the last assassin away, the entire block returned to a dead silence. I stood tall in the middle of the slaughterhouse. The Armani suit I was wearing didn't even have a single drop of blood on it. Only those deep eyes of mine were still burning with an unextinguished golden flame. I looked up at the roof of the abandoned building. There was still one last big fish up there. On the rooftop, Crate's hands were trembling. He had been a mercenary for 20 years, assassinated warlords in the Philippines, and blown up oil fields in the Middle East. What kind of ruthless faces hadn't he seen? But someone like me, who barehanded, in just 3 minutes, annihilated an entire fully armed elite squad. He had truly never even heard of such a thing. Retreat. Retreat immediately. The intel was wrong. This isn't an S-rank mission at all. This is an SSS-rank suicide mission. Crate roared frantically into the walkie-talkie while preparing to zipline away and escape. Just as he turned around, a voice suddenly rang out right behind him. Since you went through all the trouble to come here, aren't you going to stay for a cup of tea? Startled, he swiftly drew the Desert Eagle strap to his thigh, spun around, and pulled the trigger. A gunshot rang out, but I'd already vanished. The next second, Crate felt a cold sensation on his wrist. An excruciating pain hit him. His right hand, along with the Desert Eagle, was sliced clean off, dropping to the ground with a thud. The cut was as smooth as a mirror. Even a rusty blade is still a blade. It was just something I casually picked up from the ground. A piece of a soda can. Crate clutched his wound and fell to his knees, his eyes filled with absolute despair and terror. Don't kill me. I'm the head of Black Mamba's Asian division. If you kill me, Black Mamba will hunt you to the ends of the earth. The ends of the earth? I looked down at him from above, as if looking at a mere ant. Threatening me? Do you know what I hate the most? It's when others use countless things to threaten me, like money, for example. I pulled out my phone and opened an interface. It was the dark web that the system had just cracked. The secret organization Black Mamba, headquarters located on a small island in the international waters of the Pacific Ocean. Estimated total assets, around $30 billion. The current leader goes by the codename Poison King, whose true identity is the illegitimate son of a fallen European aristocrat. You! How do you know all this? This is top secret information. System. Redeem the upgraded version of the top global hacker, Hand of God. Infiltrate Black Mamba's headquarters accounts and freeze all their assets. Also, issue a new bounty to all assassins. 3 seconds later, Crate's custom walkie-talkie suddenly vibrated violently, and it wasn't just him. At this very moment, over 3,000 Black Mamba assassins, scattered all across the globe, simultaneously received a directive, a maximum-level red alert. The current leader, Poison King, has been bought out by Supreme Tycoon for $50 billion. The organization is now renamed Divine Punishment. Bought out? Crate muttered to himself, feeling his entire worldview completely collapse. He never could have dreamed that someone could use money to outright buy an entire assassin organization. What? Don't believe it? If you don't, you can check your bank card. Consider it a welcome gift. I just sent every surviving assassin a $10 million fee to change their tune and call me boss. Crate's phone chimed. Transfer received. $10 million. BB boss. He immediately kowtowed, banging his head against the floor with heavy thuds. Your subordinate was blind. I am willing to go through fire and water for you, boss. That old geezer, Song Wonhong. I'll go take care of him right now. Your hand is severed. I'm a cripple now. I don't keep cripples. Crate's face turned ashen. However, I suddenly changed my tone. I have a pill here. Take it, and your hand can grow back. Moreover, your strength will increase threefold. Basic regeneration pill, price $50 million in the system store. But this pill is poisonous. You must take the antidote once every 3 months. If you betray me, I'll take it. Crate grabbed the pill without hesitation and swallowed it in one gulp. A miraculous scene unfolded. His severed wrist began to squirm. The bleeding stopped at a visible rate, scabbing over and beginning to regenerate. This is a miracle. Crate covered his face and wept bitterly. I turned and walked toward the edge of the building. Clean up the bodies here. I don't want to see any news reports about this shootout tomorrow. Also, notify everyone. I'm going to take my time playing with the Song family. Don't push them to their deaths just yet. First, cut off their funding, then sever their connections. Finally, I want them kneeling at the doors of the Sioux group, begging for death. Understood, sir. After tonight, the Song family will be completely wiped from the underworld. I launched myself into the air, leaping straight off the 30-story building. In midair, I activated the anti-gravity wingsuit I had just redeemed. Like a giant black bat, I soared away and vanished into the night. Half an hour later, Su Yunshu's private villa was brightly lit. In the living room, Su Yunshu was curled up on the sofa, hugging a pillow. The TV was still on, but she wasn't paying any attention to it. Little Tangguo had fallen asleep beside her, tears still lingering at the corners of her eyes. Su Yunshu clasped her hands together, waiting silently. Please don't let anything happen to you, she prayed over and over in her heart, hoping I would return safely. As soon as she saw me walk in, Su Yunshu couldn't hold back her emotions anymore. She threw herself straight into my arms, hugging my waist tightly. Her tears instantly soaked my shirt. Where did you go? Do you know how worried I was? I even heard helicopters, I thought. She threw herself straight into my arms, hugging my waist tightly. Her tears instantly soaked my shirt. Where did you go? Do you know how worried I was? I even heard helicopters, I thought. Silly girl, didn't I tell you? I looked up at the night sky outside the window. The dark clouds had scattered, revealing a bright, luminous moon. From now on, the night in Jiangcheng will be mine to command. No one will ever be able to hurt you and our daughter again. Lin Xuan, who exactly are you? I leaned down and kissed the tear at the corner of her eye. I am your Supreme Tycoon, and also your knight. At the same time, In the luxurious Song family mansion on the other side of Jiangcheng, the chairman of the Song group, Song Wanhong, was sitting in his study, anxiously waiting for good news. Why is there still no reply? What the hell is that useless crate doing? Song Wanhong irritably crushed his cigar into the ashtray. Suddenly, the study doors were thrown open. The butler stumbled in, looking panicked. Master, this is bad. Something terrible has happened. What are you panicking for? Did the sky fall? Song Wanhong snapped angrily. The butler trembling handed over a tablet. The sky really has fallen. Look, the dark web is flooded with bounties on our family. Our stock plummeted 90% the moment the US market opened, and more than a dozen major shareholders just called simultaneously demanding to withdraw their capital. What? Song Wanhong snatched the tablet and took one look. Right on the homepage of the dark web was a massive, zoomed-in photo of his face, with a line of text underneath, in blood red. Global kill order on the Song family. Bounty $1 billion. He instantly felt the world spinning, and coughed up a mouthful of dark blood. Who did this? Song Wanhong roared, like a dying wild beast. Right then, the phone in the study rang. It was an unknown number. Trembling, Song Wanhong picked it up. From the other end came a voice distorted by software, yet still exuding a bone-chilling coldness. Hello, Chairman Song. Good evening. I heard you were looking for Black Mamba to kill me. Too bad Black Mamba's surname is now Lin. Take your time and enjoy this final night. When the sun rises tomorrow, it will be the end of the Song family. The call disconnected. The receiver slipped from Song Wanhong's hand. He slumped limply into his chair, his eyes completely hollow. Outside the window, the brilliant lights that once belonged to the Song family, at this very moment, seemed to turn into lanterns, guiding the way to the underworld. Mornings in Jiangcheng were usually busy and orderly, but today, the atmosphere of the entire city was enveloped in a suffocating, stifling madness. Everything stemmed from a mysterious organization named Shencha, and the bounty posted on the dark web last night, $1 billion. This astronomical sum, enough to buy half a small African country, had completely sent the global underworld into a frenzy. The Song Group headquarters building, the glass skyscraper that was once a symbol of Jiangcheng's highest elite, was now surrounded so tightly that not even a drop of water could slip through. However, the people gathered at the main entrance weren't reporters, nor were they workers demanding unpaid wages. There were groups of people with fierce eyes, their waistbands bulging with unidentified weapons. The chairman's office on the top floor. Song Wanhong looked as if he had aged 10 years overnight. He sat slumped in his chair, made of precious red rosewood worth millions, his hair disheveled, his eyes bloodshot, clutching a satellite phone tightly in his hand. Hello? Mayor Lee? It's me, Old Song. I'm not asking for anything else. Just please send someone to protect me. What? Bad signal? Hello? Hello? The reflection in the window showed the dense crowd, swarming like ants downstairs. Right then, the heavy ironwood doors of the office were kicked open from the outside. The person who walked in wasn't an assassin, but his secretary. But at this moment, the usually obedient and submissive secretary walked in with a cold expression, holding a cardboard box. Chairman Song, this is your resignation letter. I've already printed it out for you. Also, all the employees in the finance department have resigned. You all dare to rebel. I am the chairman. I'm not dead yet. Chairman Song, stop being naive. The Song Group right now, its stock has plummeted to the value of scrap paper. Its stock has plummeted to the value of scrap paper. The bank has frozen all your assets. Even the utility bills for this building are 3 months overdue. Even the utility bills for this building are 3 months overdue. You're nothing but a walking pile of negative equity now. Who would still treat you like the chairman? With that, the secretary spun on her heel and walked away without looking back. Before leaving, she even swiped the solid gold pen holder right off the desk. You bitch! Get back here. Put my gold pen down. Song Wanhong roared, about to lunge after her, but was blocked by 2 burly bodyguards at the door. These were the very bodyguards he had spent a fortune to hire. One of them chewed his gum and sneered, Chairman Song, save your breath. The only reason we haven't bailed yet is because someone paid us a higher price to keep an eye on you and make sure you don't escape. Who? Who is it? The bodyguard said nothing, only stepping aside to respectfully clear the way. At the end of the hallway, the sound of unhurried footsteps echoed, leather soles clicking against the marble floor, letting out sharp, crisp, clack, clack sounds. Every single step felt like it was stomping right on the hearts of the Song father and son. I was wearing a custom-tailored dark blue suit, arm in arm with a cold, ethereal beauty, strolling in at a leisurely pace. Behind me was a group of elites in sharp suits and polished shoes, each holding a briefcase, looking like a professional M&A team. Good morning, Chairman Song. I walked into the office, glancing around this ridiculously extravagant space. Finally, my gaze landed on Song Wanhong's pale face. So this is the office of Jiangcheng's richest man? Such tacky taste. I casually picked up the golden money toad statue on the desk, tossing it in my hand with a look of disgust, then tossed it straight into the trash can with a thud. Song Wonhong glared daggers at me, the hatred in his eyes practically spilling over. Lin Chuan, it's you. You're the one who put out the bounty. You demon. What the hell do you want? A gentleman can be killed, but not humiliated. What you're doing is illegal. I pulled out a chair for Su Yunshu to sit, while I lazily leaned against the edge of the desk. Last night, when you sent assassins to kill me, why didn't you think about the law then? So the magistrate can burn down houses, but the commoners can't even light a lamp? I snapped my fingers. A legal staff member behind me stepped forward, opened his briefcase, and took out a thick stack of documents, spreading them out in front of Song Wonhong. Chairman Song, this is the asset transfer agreement for the entire Song Group. According to our calculations, the Song Group is currently carrying 23 billion in debt. Due to force majeure factors, the current asset valuation is negative 5 billion. Normally, this company would be liquidated for bankruptcy, but my boss, Mr. Lin Chuan, is a merciful man and is willing to inject capital to acquire it. Acquire? How much are you offering? As long as you withdraw the bounty. I smiled. He held up a finger. 10 billion? I shook my head. 1 billion? I shook my head again. 100 million. Song Wonhong's heart plummeted into the abyss. I dropped my smile, reached into my pocket, and fished out a coin. It was a single penny, out of circulation and covered in rust. Clink. The coin spun on the desk, making a harsh, grating sound, before finally falling flat right in front of Song Wonhong. To buy the entire 3-generation legacy of your Song family, including this building, all real estate under your name, cars, stocks, and even the suit you're wearing right now. Song Wonhong was so furious he nearly coughed up blood. You're pushing it too far. I'd rather burn it all down and give it to beggars than ever hand it over to you. Burn it down. My eyes turned icy. You can try. But let me remind you, the 3,000 plus bounty hunters downstairs are getting pretty impatient. If I cancel the capture alive order, how do you think they'll storm up here? Song Wonhong instantly froze. Dad. Sign it, Dad. I want to live. I don't want to die. Song Zixuan completely broke down, crawling over to hug Song Wonhong's thigh, crying with snot running down his face. Looking at his son's cowardly, useless state, the light in Song Wonhong's eyes completely died out. He shakily picked up the pen. Lin Chuan, you're ruthless. The moment he signed his name, he felt as if his soul had been drained. The empire he had spent his entire life building, just like that, sold off for a single penny, to the guy he once treated like a mere ant, a lowly food delivery boy. Yanshu, a gift for you. Do you like it? I took the signed contract and handed it directly to Su Yunshu behind me. Su Yunshu held the heavy stack of documents in her hands. Was this really the massive empire that nearly drove the Su family to ruin? And yet now, it had fallen into her pocket this easily? Lin Chuan, this is too precious. Su Yunshu felt like everything was surreal. We're family, no need to be so polite. Besides, I'm too lazy to manage these broken companies. From now on, you're the chairman of the Song Group. Wait, no? It's now called Branch, one of Su's Shenhao. Turning back to the former chairman, I patted Song Wonhong on the shoulder as if comforting a stray dog. All right, stop wearing that funeral face. To celebrate this successful acquisition, I've decided to take you two out to experience life a bit. Experience what? Song Wonhong had a very bad feeling about this. Shopping. I snapped my fingers. System. Activating Shenhao's humiliation consumption mode. Detected host entering a high-tier face-slapping scenario. Issuing mission. Take the former billionaires shopping. Mission requirements. Right in front of the Song father and son. Buy everything they previously wanted but couldn't bear to spend money on. And force them to act as your porters. An hour later at Jiangcheng's largest luxury car showroom. This place displayed the world's most luxurious supercars. In the past, this was Song Zixuan's favorite spot to show off his status, but every time he came, he only dared to look at the entry-level models worth a few million yuan. As for the Bugatti, La Voiture Noire, worth 120 million yuan, sitting in the center of the showroom, he didn't even dare to touch it. But today he was here, in the role of a lowly porter. Song Zixuan, wearing a torn shirt, dragged his feet behind me, dripping with sweat, while Song Wonhong looked exactly like an old servant, cowering with his head bowed. Young Master Song, does this car look familiar? I pointed at the Bugatti, looking at Song Zixuan with a half-smile. I heard that last time, to get this car, you begged on your knees for half a year, and your dad still refused to buy it for you, right? And your dad still refused to buy it for you, right? Why? Yes? Do you like it? I like it. If you like it, take a good long look at it. I walked up to the car and patted the hood, because from now on, you'll only be driving it in your dreams. With that, I turned to the sales manager. Swipe the card, pay in full. No need for a test drive. Just give me the keys. Why, yes. Right away, Mr. Lin. The manager was so excited his hands were shaking. I took the car keys and right in front of Song Zixuan's despairing eyes, I tossed them straight to my bodyguard, Brother Lee, behind me. I tossed them straight to my bodyguard, Brother Lee, behind me. This car is for you. Drive this when you go grocery shopping from now on. Lazy. This car is for you. Drive it when you go grocery shopping. Stop driving that beat-up minivan. It's embarrassing. The whole room froze. A Bugatti worth over 100 million bought as a grocery getter for a bodyguard? Brother Lay cradled the keys, tears streaming down his face. Boss, you're like my second parents. This worthless life of mine belongs to you now. Hold on, I'm not done yet. That Rolls Royce, buy it. That red sports car, buy it. The color is too flashy. Take it back and paint it black. And those Aston Martins over there. Give one to each of the cleaning ladies at the company, so they can commute to work easier. In just half an hour, I swept the entire car showroom clean, racking up a total bill of 800 million yuan. Song Wonhong and Song Zixuan followed behind, their arms full of complimentary accessories that came with the luxury cars. Every time they saw me swipe my card, the hearts of the father and son twitched violently. Lin Chuan, I'm begging you, stop buying. We were wrong. Just give us a quick death. Song Wonhong finally broke down, collapsing to the floor and sobbing uncontrollably. A quick death. Back when you kicked me out of the Lin family, forcing me to deliver food in the pouring rain, did you give me a quick death? My eyes instantly turned bone-chillingly cold. I told you, I'd make you wish you were dead. Brother Lee, take these 2 pieces of trash to the police station. Tell the chief to arrange a VIP single room for them. Also, find some enthusiastic cellmates to take good care of them. I hear young Master Song has soft, fair skin. He'll probably be very popular in there. Understood. Don't worry, Boss Lin. I know the rules and they're best. Brother Lei grinned, dragging the Song father and son out by their collars like a couple of dead dogs. No, Lin Xuan. You can't do this. I'm your younger brother. Brother, I was wrong. Song Zixuan's miserable screams echoed through the showroom, then slowly faded away into nothing. Having dealt with the Song family, I let out a long, refreshing sigh. What's wrong? Are you not happy? No. I just feel a bit bored. I looked at the bustling crowd on the street outside the glass window. The Song family collapsed too fast. There was no challenge at all. Su Yunshu chuckled. If anyone else heard you say that, they'd probably beat you to death. That's the Song family, the sky of Jiangcheng. Well, the sky has changed colors now. Let's go, I'll take you somewhere. Where to? To see your new office, the top floor of the Song Group building. The view up there is beautiful, perfect for a little romance. Suddenly my phone rang. Young man, I have to admit, you've made quite a ruckus in Jiangcheng these past few days. I've seen everything you've done. I frowned slightly. Who are you? The old man on the other end replied calmly. Who I am isn't important. What's important is that you mess with the Song family. Even though that useless old dog Song Wanhong deserves to die, he was still a dog raised by me. Shouldn't you look at the master before beating the dog? I see. Beat the young one, and the old one comes out. What, you want to put out a bounty too? Finally, a decent opponent shows up. I don't play those cheap, low-level games. The voice was old but full of vigor, carrying the authority of someone who had long been in power. Young man, even if you have some money and martial arts skills, in the face of true power, money is just a number, and brute force is just a thug's trick. I am the butler of the Pei family in the capital. Our young master is very interested in that Shen house system in your hands. Wait, no. I should say, your ability to conjure money out of thin air. He has a very strong interest in it. I'll give you a piece of sincere advice. In 3 days, the Pei family will send someone to Jiangcheng to take over the mess left by the Song family. When that time comes, I hope you know what's good for you, and obediently hand over what you have. Otherwise, you'll taste what true despair is. The call ended. I stood there holding my phone, speechless for a long time. The Pei family in the capital, the true #1 noble family of Xia, a legendary behemoth that controlled the economic lifeline of the entire nation. Compared to the Pei family, the Song family really was worse than a dog. Moreover, they seemed to have sniffed out the existence of the system. Lin Xuan, what's wrong? Who called? Su Yunshu acutely noticed my unusual expression and asked worriedly. I snapped back to reality, the solemn look in my eyes vanishing instantly, replaced by a burning, fanatical fighting spirit like never before. It's nothing, just some crazy old man who thinks he's all that. I shoved my phone back into my pocket and looked toward the north. That was the direction of the capital. Looks like our leisure time is over. The next game might be a bit more thrilling. System. Detected host preparing to face a world-class threat. Activating system upgrade mission. Shenhao's advance. Objective. Before the Pei family's forces descend, you must elevate your own power, including wealth, martial strength, and network, to the Overlord tier. Current rewards, Future Sight ability. A basic blueprint for a military science factory. Death Squad recruitment token. Can recruit 100 absolutely loyal genetically modified warriors. Activating infinite cash flow mode. Time limit, 24 hours. All expenditures, regardless of the amount, will not only not be deducted, but will be refunded double. I calculated silently in my head. Hearing the third reward, I smirked slightly, an arrogant, unbridled smile. Infinite cash flow? Double cashback? The Pei family, huh? You want to play economic blockade? Then I'll use money to smash a hole right through the sky of your capital. Let's go. I pulled Su Yunshu's hand, striding toward the newly bought Bugatti, the Caesar Palace yacht. This was the venue for the charity gala of the century. Although it was in the name of charity, it was actually a show of power between Western capital and domestic comprador forces. The main host of the event was the Lawson family, while the co-host prominently featured the name of the Pei family from the capital. I stepped out of the car, arm in arm with Su Yunshu, who looked stunning in her evening gown. Tonight, she was wearing the Starry Night Nocturne gown, designed by me personally, made from futuristic materials exchanged from the system. Every time the hem of the skirt moved, it looked like an entire galaxy was flowing. It instantly outshone all the Hollywood stars and socialites present. Is that Lin Xuan? I heard he built a 6th-generation engine. Is that true? Whispers and discussions buzzed around us non-stop. I ignored them, as if I hadn't heard a thing, leading Su Yunshu straight into the hall. The inside of the hall was magnificent and grand, but right in the center of the main hall sat a massive display pedestal covered with a red cloth, surrounded by foreign bodyguards armed to the teeth. A cold voice rang out from the side. I saw a middle-aged man, wearing a tang suit, rolling 2 iron bouting balls in his hand, walking over. Behind him was Pei Zihao, his face full of venomous resentment, along with Henry, who had just stormed off in a rage after I provoked him earlier. Mr. Lin, a pleasure to finally meet you. I am Pei Zhongyuan. I heard that my worthless nephew here in Jiangcheng has received quite a bit of your care. I replied nonchalantly. I wouldn't call it care. I just helped him fix his car a bit, and taught him how to be a decent human being while I was at it. Pei Zihao furiously tried to lunge forward, but was stopped by Pei Zhongyuan. Having a sharp tongue is a good thing, but there are some things you can't hold on to just by talking. Tonight's auction was specially prepared for you by Mr. Lawson. I hope your wallet is as tough as your words. With that, the 3 of them turned and walked toward the VIP seats. What are they planning? Su Yunshu had a bad feeling about this. My eyes turned cold. Whatever tricks they're trying to pull, they won't be taking a single dime out of here tonight. They won't be taking a single dime out of here tonight. The gala began. After a long, drawn-out opening speech, the main event, the auction, finally arrived. The first few items were just jewelry, calligraphy, and paintings. Although they were quite valuable, I didn't bid on any of them. I was waiting for that so-called finale item. Finally, Henry Lawson stepped up to the auction block. Lawson's face showed clear delight at the prospect of revenge. The final item of the night is a national treasure of Xia that has been lost overseas for a century. He yanked off the red cloth. The entire hall gasped in shock as it was revealed. A bronze dragon head statue. Though still stained with dirt, it exuded an awe-inspiring majesty. It was one of the 12 zodiac statues from the old summer palace. The most mysterious one, missing until now, the dragon head. This dragon head belongs to our Lawson family. During the war 100 years ago, it was claimed as a trophy of war. Lawson deliberately emphasized the words, trophy of war, to every citizen of Xia present. This was a blatant insult. The starting bid is 1 billion USD. Each bid increment must be no less than 100 million. Lawson looked at me with a provocative gaze. Mr. Lin, I hear you're a patriotic businessman. Now is the time to prove your patriotism. If no one buys it, this dragon head statue will be permanently placed in a museum tomorrow, and labeled as the sword that conquered the East. The Xia businessmen below immediately erupted in anger. This is too arrogant. This is a direct slap to our faces. $1 billion? That's way too expensive. All eyes turned toward me. This was a dead end. Buying it meant turning myself into a fat pig bleeding out for Western capitalists. Not buying it meant bearing the infamy of watching a national treasure be humiliated. Total ruin. Lin Xuan, why aren't you bidding? Where's your unlimited wealth? Where's your patriotism? Don't tell me you've chickened out? I slowly stood up, calmly buttoning my suit jacket. My gaze rested quietly on Henry on the stage. $1 billion? I bid 10 billion. The entire hall fell dead silent. $10 billion? He only intended to squeeze a few billion out of me. He never expected me to multiply the price by 10. Lin Xuan, you're crazy. This is a trap set by those robbers. If this money falls into their hands, it'll change their lives completely. Su Yunshu tugged at my sleeve. Don't worry. I patted her hand gently. Whether I pay or not is up to me, not them. Lawson snapped back to reality, ecstatic on the inside. With this $10 billion, not only would his family's crisis be resolved, but they'd also make a massive profit. 10 billion going once, 10 billion going twice. Sold. Mr. Lin, please transfer the funds immediately. We only accept instant wire transfers via the SWIFT system. He had it all perfectly calculated. The moment my money entered the SWIFT system, he would immediately use his authority to swallow the entire sum. Then freeze the transaction under the guise of anti-money laundering. I pulled out my black card and handed it to the approaching staff member. The large screen displayed the transfer interface. Just as everyone was holding their breath, the large screen suddenly flickered, turning a glaring blood red. Warning, transaction failed. Error code, 404. Your bank has been acquired. What? Lawson froze. The bank. Acquired? I stood below the stage, hands in my pockets, flashing a bright smile. My apologies, Mr. Lawson. Just 1 minute before the auction began, I used this $10 billion on the U.S. stock market to complete a hostile takeover of the Atlantic Union Bank, which belongs to you. I pointed at the POS card machine. Right now, I'm using my own money, moving it from my left hand to my right hand within my own bank. As for you, a former shareholder of this bank, because you're implicated and suspected, severe financial fraud and embezzlement of client deposits, a group of people in Interpol uniforms suddenly stormed in. Henry Lawson, you are under arrest for stock market manipulation, illegal money transfers, and commercial fraud. What? No. This is impossible. I'm a member of the Lawson family. I have immunity. Lawson watched the police rush toward him, completely breaking down. Mr. Pei, save me, save me. But at this moment, Pei Zhongyuan's face was deathly pale. He sat stiffly in his chair, not daring to move an inch, because he could feel several bright red laser dots locked dead center on his forehead. They were snipers from the Shadow Legion. Take him away. I waved my hand. Henry Lawson was dragged away like a dead dog. The dragon head statue remained on the stage. I stepped up onto the stage and lifted the heavy bronze statue with one hand. A trophy? Listen to me carefully. From today onward, the era of bowing our heads in submission is over. What belongs to us, I will take back with my own hands, piece by piece, whether by buying it or by taking it by force. The crowd below erupted. A tsunami of applause and cheers echoed through the hall. Countless Xia businessmen had tears in their eyes. In this moment, the pent-up frustration of hundreds of years was finally released. Su Yunshu looked at the man shining brilliantly on the stage, her eyes filled with absolute adoration. This was her man, taking on the whole world single-handedly and still winning. However, just as the entire hall was celebrating, an unprecedented system notification suddenly rang in my head. God Tier Tycoon System 3. Ultimate upgrade. Planar shop unlocked. No longer restricted to Earth's technology. Access granted to Tier 1 Cosmic Civilization technology. Antimatter energy. Gene unlocking. Spatial compression technology. Overlord domain. Purge global plutocrat factions. I looked at these new features. A brilliant golden light flaring in my eyes. Even the surrounding air rippled visibly, due to the overflowing energy. Planar overlord. Right at this moment, Pei Zhongyuan suddenly stood up. He looked at me, not only without a trace of fear, but also revealing a bizarre smile. Lin Xuan, brilliant. Truly brilliant. Pei Zhongyuan clapped, slowly walking toward me. It seems the rumors are true. You really do have that thing on you. Originally, our Pei family planned to spare your life, to use you as a money-making tool. But looking at it now, you've grown completely out of control. Pei Zhongyuan pulled a black remote control from his chest pocket. Do you know what this is? This Caesar Palace cruise ship has been rigged by us, with 3 tons of liquid explosives. The moment I press this, no matter what dark tech you have, everything will turn to ash in the blink of an eye. Lin Xuan, hand over your system, or let this entire ship full of elites and the woman you love be buried with you. The cheers in the hall instantly died down. You lunatic, Pei Zhongyuan. You're insane. There are hundreds of innocent people on this ship. Innocent? Pei Zhongyuan's finger hovered right over the red button. Those who achieve great things don't sweat the small stuff. As long as I get the God-tier tycoon system, let alone a few hundred people. Even if half the population of Jiangcheng had to die, it would be worth it. Lin Xuan, get on your knees and extract the system. Otherwise, I'll press the button. I looked at him, like I was looking at a dancing clown. I softly uttered 2 words. Time stop. Overlord domain activated. Time froze in an instant. The entire world suddenly turned a grayscale white. The flying droplets of spit, the horrified expressions, the rolling of the ocean waves. I made a slight movement. I walked as if strolling through my own garden, reaching out and taking the remote from his hand, then casually slapped Pei Zhongyuan hard across the face. Time resumed its flow. Pei Zhongyuan's vision blurred. Immediately after, a searing pain shot through half of his face. Several teeth flew out along with fresh blood. Pei Zhongyuan clutched his face, staring in horror at me standing a few meters away, toying with the remote in my hand. Are you a man or a ghost? How did you do that? What just happened? Teleportation. I crushed the remote, the pieces scattering to the ground. I told you, in this domain. I told you, in this domain. I am God. I walked up to Pei Zhongyuan, looking down at the man who was once so arrogant and dismissive of everyone, the number 2 figure of the Pei family. It's time for the Pei family's curtain call. Tonight, this ship won't sink, but the broken ship that is the Pei family definitely will. Tonight's party will continue, but the next act will be a judgment. Colluding with foreign powers to assassinate a meritorious citizen, planting bombs in a public place. The evidence is irrefutable. Ying Yi, throw him to the fishes. Lin Xuan, you wouldn't dare. I'm a member of the Pei family. My older brother is. Splash. A loud splash in the water put an end to all of Pei Zhongyuan's screaming. The freezing river water, bottomless and dark, just like my eyes right now. I looked toward the north. The Pei family's final trump card was gone. Next, it was time to head to the capital and collect that massive debt. Su Yunshu walked up beside me and tightly grasped my hand. Even though her palms were still trembling, her gaze was incredibly resolute. I'll go with you. I squeezed her hand back, looking at the dragon head symbolizing sovereign power in my hand. All right, what we're going to take back isn't just justice, but a new era that belongs to us. Autumn in the capital was bleak and desolate. The Pei family's ancient estate sat at the foot of the western hills. This massive structure that had witnessed the rise and fall of 3 dynasties, that had stood tall and unyielding, amidst countless power struggles, today, was engulfed in an unprecedented terror. Dark clouds churned in the sky, pressing down so low it felt like you could touch them. In the main hall of the Pei family, the atmosphere was suffocating to the extreme. The current patriarch of the Pei family, the man who only needed to stomp his foot to make the capital tremble, Old Master Pei Zhenshan, was currently sitting upright in his grand armchair. Kneeling below him was Pei Zihao, who had just fled back. On both sides of the hall sat 7 or 8 old men with profound auras, their temples bulging. These people were the hidden assets of the Pei family, Cheng Juling. Every single one of them was a grandmaster-level expert in the ancient martial arts world. Grandpa, second uncle, was thrown into the river to feed the fishes. Pei Zihao's entire body was still trembling uncontrollably. Pei Zhenshan backhanded him with his cane. You bastard! Destroying our own morale before the fight even starts. Pei Zhenshan stood up. Though he was over 80, the killing intent forged from mountains of corpses and seas of blood in the past still sent shivers down people's spines. What sorcery? There's no such thing as sorcery in this world. It's nothing but some unknown super technology. Our Pei family has stood firm in the capital for 100 years. What kind of storms haven't we seen? He's just a nouveau rich punk. What gives him the right to provoke our Pei family? Pei Zhenshan slammed his cane down hard, shattering the floor tiles in an instant. Activate the Skynet defense system. That's the laser defense array system that we spent 20 billion to buy from the Western Blackwater Company. It can even intercept cruise missiles. Cheng Juling, hear my command. Guard the inner courtyard. If that Lin brat dares to step half a foot through the gate, kill him without mercy. A crazed ruthlessness flashed in Pei Zhenshan's eyes. Release the thing in the forbidden area of the back mountain. If he wants to play the supernatural game, then I will let him. Broaden his horizons and see what a real monster looks like. The 8 grandmasters present all had a change in expression. Right at this moment, a muffled thunderclap suddenly echoed from the highest heavens, but this thunder didn't sound like natural lightning. Everyone in the Pei family estate reflexively rushed out of the hall, looking up at the sky. The next second, everyone's pupils shrank violently. They saw the dense, dark clouds overhead, as if torn apart by an invisible giant hand, brutally ripped open into a massive gaping hole. A spaceship, pitch black from head to tail, shaped like a sharp sword, was silently hovering in the air right above the Pei family estate. It blotted out the sky, casting a colossal shadow over everyone's hearts. No propellers, no jet exhausts, just hovering there quietly, defying all conventional laws of physics. It was the interstellar spaceship exchanged from the system shop, the budget civilian version of the Heaven's Punishment ship. Even though it was a dirt-cheap version, it was more than enough to suppress the natives of Earth. Pei Zihao collapsed to the ground in terror, pissing his pants. What is that? Aliens? Is he really an alien? Pei Zhenshan's hands were also trembling violently, but he forced himself to hold it together, roaring into the walkie-talkie. Anti-aircraft unit, open fire. Shoot it down. The rockeries around the Pei family estate suddenly cracked open, revealing 4 sci-fi-esque laser turrets and 6 anti-aircraft missile launcher clusters. Flames shot into the sky. 6 heat-seeking missiles trailing long tails tore through the wind, streaking toward the pitch-black spaceship in the sky. However, facing this devastating attack, the black spaceship didn't even bother to activate its energy shields. Only a small blue light lit up at the bow of the ship. System command activated, calibrating physical laws, nullifying kinetic energy. The Pei family's proud $20 billion defense line instantly self-destructed. As the smoke and dust cleared, the Pei family estate was reduced to a wasteland, littered with rubble and the agonizing groans of the bodyguards. Pei Zhenshan stood before the doors of the Loyalty Hall, his face covered in ash, his eyes blank. Skynet, destroyed just like that. At that very moment, from the bottom of the hovering spaceship, a hatch slowly opened. Two figures leaped down from an altitude of thousands of meters. No parachutes, no gliders, just free-falling. Lunatics. That's suicide. But when they were only about 10 meters from the ground, their falling momentum suddenly reversed against inertia, and they touched down as lightly as feathers without even kicking up a speck of dust. It was me and Su Yunshu. I was wearing a black trench coat over the casual suit I wore in Jiangcheng. As for Su Yunshu, she had changed into a sleek white tactical suit, carrying the case holding the dragon head statue in her hand. The two of us stood shoulder to shoulder, right in the middle of the ruins of the Pei family estate. Old Master Pei, a pleasure to finally meet you. I looked up, looking at Pei Zhenshan standing on the steps, seeming to have aged a decade in the blink of an eye. A faint smile played on my lips. This welcoming gift made quite a nice bang, didn't it? Pei Zhenshan pointed straight at me, so furious he nearly choked on a mouthful of blood. Lin Xuan, this is the capital, right at the feet of the emperor. You dare to openly use heavy weaponry for an attack? Are you trying to start a rebellion? An attack? I raised an eyebrow. Are your eyes failing you? It's clearly because your Pei family was illegally hoarding weapons, and improper handling led to an explosion. I'm just a passionate citizen who rushed over specifically to put out the fire. I shrugged and spread my hands innocently. With that, I snapped my fingers. Ying Yi, send the video to the security bureau. Everything that had just happened had been clearly recorded by the panoramic cameras on the spaceship. It was indeed the Pei family who opened fire first. As for me, I hadn't even lifted a finger. You shameless bastard, he roared. Compared to what your Pei family has done, I'm not even close. My expression instantly turned cold, and I strode forward. Cheng Juling, kill him. Pei Zhenshan roared mournfully. The 8 grandmasters who had been watching all this time exchanged glances. Even though my entrance was terrifying, the pride of martial artists made them believe that there was no mortal in this world who couldn't be killed. You little punk, don't get cocky. Take my iron sand palm. A burly old man roared in anger, stomping hard on the floor tiles and launching himself at me like a cannonball. His iron black hands whipped up a foul-smelling gust of wind, smashing straight toward my head. I didn't even bother to look at him. System skill, gravitational pull, 100 times. I said coldly. He was instantly slammed hard into the ground. His kneecaps shattered instantly, and the ground was smashed into a deep crater. His entire body was plastered to the floor like a painting, and he passed out cold. The remaining 7 grandmasters frantically skidded to a halt, staring at the scene in absolute horror. What kind of realm was this? Land of the Immortals? Are you still going to attack? I don't mind turning this place into a morgue. I swept my gaze around. The 7 grandmasters stood there, staring at each other. Suddenly, in perfect unison, they stepped back, turned around, and bolted. Are you kidding me? What the hell was that? One look and you could tell that wasn't something a human could fight. Money is great and all, but life is way more important. A bunch of trash. Pei Zhenshan watched his retainers scatter in panic. So furious, he nearly popped a blood vessel in his brain. By now, I had reached the steps of the Loyalty Hall and waved at Su Yunshu behind me. Su Yunshu stepped forward and placed the case on the ground. The majestic bronze dragon statue sat there in dead silence. Its eyes seemed to be judging this rotten family. My voice was as cold as ice. I didn't bring it here as a gift for you. I brought it to teach you a lesson. Dragons are meant to be revered, not to be sold. You people of the Pei family don't deserve to live in this courtyard. Pei Zhenshan stared at the dragon head statue. The fear in his eyes finally twisted into desperate madness. Fine. Ha 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 ha. Pei Zhenshan let out a bizarre, owl-like screech of laughter. Lin Xuan, do you really think having some high-tech toys makes you the master of everything? You have absolutely no idea about the truth of this world. A piercing whistle tore through the entire back mountain. Immediately after, the ground began to shake, and a nauseating, putrid stench poured out from the forbidden grounds of the back mountain. An inhuman roar echoed into the sky. The wall surrounding the back mountain collapsed with a deafening crash. A 3-meter-tall figure, covered entirely in black scales, a humanoid monster with bloodshot eyes, charged out like a runaway tank. Wherever it passed, the vegetation withered. The floor tiles were corroded and pitted. Su Yunshu's expression changed. Is this a biochemical monster? Ha ha ha. Lin Xuan, open your eyes and look. This is the ultimate weapon, the Tyrant, given to me by the Freemasons. It was created by combining the genes of ancient creatures and fusing them with the T-virus variant. It feels absolutely no pain. Its strength is unmatched, and its entire body is highly toxic. The Tyrant roared, locking its sights on me. It leaped up, its claws capable of tearing apart a tank, aiming straight for my face. Facing this biochemical monster, my expression finally showed a slight change. It was pure disgust. This is your trump card? It's way too ugly. The moment its claws were about to touch the tip of my nose, I suddenly raised my right hand. There was no blinding light or earth-shattering phenomenon. A seemingly ordinary beam saber simply appeared in my hand. No, it wasn't a beam saber. It was a high-frequency particle blade. Swish! A soft sound echoed. My arm swung in a flawless arc. Time seemed to freeze in that instant. The tyrant's massive body flew over my head and crashed heavily onto the ground right behind me. There was no explosion, nor was there any blood or gore splattering around. Only a hairline red mark appeared across the monster's waist. Its upper half slowly slid off. The cut was as smooth as a mirror. Not a single drop of blood spilled out. Ha ha. 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 Pei Jinshan's hysterical laughter came to an abrupt halt. His jaw dropped so wide you could fit a fist in it. He stared at the two twitching halves of the corpse on the ground. His entire worldview completely shattered. I put away the particle blade and dusted off my hands, as if I had just finished a trivial chore, not even worth mentioning. I walked up to Pei Jinshan, whose body had gone completely limp. I kicked away his dragon head cane, the symbol of his authority as the family head. Got any more tricks? If you're out of moves, then it's time to settle our debts. Years ago, your Pei family conspired with the Song family to frame my father. You forced him to his death and swallowed the Lin family's legacy. How do we settle this debt? Just now, you ordered your men to fire missiles at me to silence me. How do we settle this one? I'll compensate you with money. I'll give you all my money. Hundreds of billions. I'll give it all to you. Please, just spare my miserable life. Old Master Pei, perhaps you've forgotten. The one thing I lack the least right now is money. I stood up straight. At this moment, the Heaven's Wrath spaceship hovering above suddenly projected a massive holographic screen downward. On the screen were stacks of extremely detailed criminal evidence. The Pei family's money laundering ledgers, audio recordings of the Pei family assassinating competitors. There was even surveillance footage of Pei Jinshan ordering the use of forbidden weapons just moments ago. At the same time, in every corner of the capital's streets, every mobile phone and computer was forcibly hijacked with a notification, broadcasting this evidence live and in sync. Pei Jinshan stared at the contents on the screen, utterly despairing. This was going to completely ruin the Pei family's reputation. They would go down in infamy forever. This was even more ruthless than killing him. Destroying the mind before taking the life. I said calmly, Pei Jinshan, I want you to see with your own eyes how the century-old legacy you're so proud of comes crashing down under the scorn of the world. This time, it wasn't the Pei family's corrupt backers arriving. It was a direct order from the highest authorities, heavily armed special forces, and the military court's law enforcement team. Pei Jinshan, you are suspected of treason and crimes against humanity. You are now under arrest. As the cold handcuffs snapped onto Pei Jinshan's wrists, this formidable figure who had dominated for half a century finally had to bow his arrogant head. The moment he was escorted into the police car, he turned his head for one last look. He saw me sitting leisurely on that grand armchair symbolizing supreme power, holding Su Yunshu in my arms. It was the posture of a victor and the coronation of a new king. The Pei family had fallen completely, uprooted entirely, with all the core members of the Pei family captured and their corrupt backers purged. The power dynamics of the entire capital were reshuffled overnight, and I became the sole king of this empire. I stood by the cliff on the back mountain, looking down at the brightly lit capital below. What are you thinking about? Your great revenge is complete. Aren't you happy? I shook my head and held her hand tightly. The Pei family may have fallen, but this is far from over. That tyrant monster from earlier was the work of the Western Freemasons. Moreover, this thing we found on Pei Jinshan, the material of this bone whistle doesn't belong to Earth. It was carved from the bone of a multidimensional creature. It contains a type of number 10 energy fluctuation that even the system can't fully analyze. The system just warned me. Our coordinates have likely been exposed. Exposed to whom? The real predators. Right at that moment, the system in my head suddenly blared an unprecedented, piercing alarm. Dimensional barrier fracture detected. Aura of the devouring abyss detected. Invasion coordinates, Central Pacific Ocean. Objective, seize the dimensional lord core and the host. In my eyes, golden data streams danced wildly. I took a deep breath and crushed the bone whistle in my hand. Yunshu, notify Ying Yi. Assemble the entire Shadow Legion. Also, activate all weapon systems on the Heaven's Wrath. We're heading to the Pacific Ocean. We have some uninvited guests from afar. I need to give them a proper welcome. Point Nemo in the Central Pacific Ocean. This is the most remote oceanic location on Earth, often called the spacecraft cemetery by humanity. However, today, this area known as the Sea of Death was boiling like hell itself. From an altitude of over 10,000 meters, the Heaven's Wrath spaceship, pitch black as ink, hovered among the clouds, with its optical camouflage engaged. Inside the cockpit, I stood before the holographic projection table, looking down at the ocean surface below. Beside me, Su Yunshu wore a skin-tight nano-combat suit, even though she had witnessed all sorts of miracles from me. At this moment, looking at the data on the holographic screen, she still felt a chill run down her spine. What is that? An underwater city? Su Yunshu pointed at the dense heat signatures on the screen. The screen displayed At a depth of 3,000 meters right beneath Point Nemo stood a massive architectural complex, shaped like a giant pyramid, emitting a gloomy green light. Its scale even surpassed that of Jiangcheng. Countless submarines and underwater mechs were bustling around it like worker ants. This is the Western Secret Organization, the true headquarters of the Freemasons, the Atlantis Fortress. They hit it well. I stared intently at that giant pyramid. Golden light flickered in my eyes. System analysis shows the energy core of this base is conducting some kind of multidimensional spatial resonance. They're summoning something. Summoning what? The tyrant was just a watchdog. This time, they're trying to summon the dog's master. Right then, Long Yi's voice echoed directly through the neural link. They've spotted us. Surface defense systems have been activated. Before he could even finish, the previously calm ocean surface suddenly churned violently. The seawater erupted. 12 pillars, over 10 meters in diameter. Massive metal pillars rose from the sea, piercing straight into the sky. Immediately after, blinding beams of high-energy ions interwove into a massive, inescapable net of death. In an instant, they locked onto the heaven's wrath above the clouds. Warning! High-level destructive attack energy detected. The spaceship's AI blared a piercing alarm. Finally decided to stick your heads out, huh? A faint, arrogant smirk curled on my lips. If they want to play Star Wars, then I'll let them. Open their eyes and see what a true dimensional strike looks like. System, redeem planetary class orbital weapon, Eye of God. Single-use trial version. Deducting 500 million origin points. Space weapon in position. I raised my hand and gently pressed down toward the ocean below. God said, let there be light. In space orbit, 30,000 miles away, a massive tungsten alloy kinetic weapon platform disguised as a weather satellite suddenly adjusted its posture. A 6-meter-long rod, a high-density tungsten rod weighing several tons, accelerated by an electromagnetic rail, plummeted toward Earth at a terrifying Mach 20, hurtling down with a deafening roar. The atmosphere was torn apart in an instant. The extreme heat generated by the tungsten rod's friction turned it into a falling sun. A few seconds later, on the surface of the Pacific Ocean, the 12 metal pillars still spewing those deadly beams, along with all the seawater within a 10-kilometer radius, were instantly and completely vaporized by a destructive pillar of light descending from the heavens. The shockwaves shattered the eardrums of creatures thousands of miles away. The massive blast created a tsunami hundreds of meters high, spreading wildly in all directions. As for the energy shield protecting the Atlantis fortress, hidden deep beneath the sea, it trembled violently under the strike, like a candle in a hurricane, on the verge of being snuffed out. Inside the core hall of the underwater fortress, the hall was incredibly magnificent. Carved into the surrounding walls were totems of unnameable ancient gods. 12 old men in red robes, wearing golden masks, sat around a round table. They were the highest authority of the Freemasons, the 12 of Truth. Right now, these puppet masters who orchestrated global wars and plagues, who routinely manipulated financial wars, were staring up at the cracking ceiling above them, plunged into unprecedented panic. Rods from God. Those are the rods from God, one elder screamed in terror. That's a weapon that only exists in theoretical concepts. How could that Lin Xuan possibly have it? Could it be he's a civilization observer from a higher dimension? We must accelerate the ritual. The Grand Elder, sitting in the center, spoke in a hoarse voice. Beneath his mask, half of a rotting face was exposed. Only by summoning the Lord of the Devouring Abyss to descend can we survive. Even if we have to turn this entire Earth upside down, we must secure our immortality. Let the ritual begin. The 12 elders simultaneously slit their wrists, dripping fresh blood into the center of the round table, into a black vortex. As the blood accumulated, the vortex began to spin wildly. A nauseatingly evil aura erupted in an instant, piercing straight through the center of the underwater fortress, shooting straight up to the ocean surface. What a disgusting stench. I could feel it. An incredibly evil energy was awakening at the bottom of the sea. That energy didn't belong to Earth. It carried a hunger to devour all things. Yunshu, stay on the ship. Turn on all the energy shields. I turned to Su Yunshu and said, the next battle might get a little messy. Are you going down there? Su Yunshu grabbed my hand. It's too dangerous. It's 3,000 meters deep down there. I gently kissed her forehead. Don't worry. I have my deep-sea combat armor. With that, I stepped out of the hatch and leaped down. System, activate. Poseidon Sea God armor equipped. In midair, countless streams of blue nanometal covered my entire body. Gripping a trident in my hand, the thrusters on my back blasted cold blue ion trails. Like a torpedo, I plunged straight into the boiling seawater. The moment I hit the water, the surrounding seawater seemed to meet its king, automatically parting to the sides. I accelerated through the currents. My speed even surpassed that of a super torpedo. Right ahead, that giant pyramid fortress came clearly into view, and surrounding the fortress were tens of thousands of biochemical monsters, tyrants with gills, semi-mechanical super tyrant sharks. There were even humanoid octopus monsters, swarming toward me like a kicked hornet's nest. I swung the trident in my hand forcefully. Inescapable domain. Absolute zero. With me at the center, the seawater within a 1,000-meter radius instantly froze. Countless charging monsters didn't even have time to open their mouths before being frozen solid into lifelike ice sculptures. I didn't stop my momentum at all, smashing through countless ice sculptures as I charged. Like a meteor, I crashed right into the fortress's energy shield. The tip of the trident flashed with blinding golden light. It was destructive antimatter energy. My forward momentum didn't slow down in the slightest, piercing through the outer wall of the fortress, crashing heavily right into the core hall. As the dust settled, I walked out of the rubble, trident in hand. The 12 elders performing the ritual were blown to the ground by the massive shockwave. I crushed the Grand Elder's mask under my foot, revealing the monstrous, inhuman face beneath it. Keep going. Why did you stop chanting? Forget your lines? The Grand Elder looked at me in terror. The black tentacles inside his body writhed madly. As he tried to attack, I casually struck out, pinning the Grand Elder dead to the floor. Golden energy surged down the trident and poured into him. Those tentacles instantly turned to ash amidst agonizing shrieks. Don't die just yet. I looked coldly at the remaining 11 elders. Tell me, what exactly is the devouring abyss? Why did you invite the wolf into the house? It's done. It's too late. One elder suddenly burst into maniacal laughter, pointing at the black vortex in the middle of the round table. The door has already been opened. The Lord has set his eyes on this place. You're going to die. Everyone will become nourishment for the Lord. Before he could finish his sentence, the black vortex suddenly expanded violently, swallowing the entire round table in the blink of an eye. Then it transformed into a towering pillar of pitch black light, piercing straight through the fortress's domed roof, shooting straight up into the sky. I snapped my head up, only to see that from within that black pillar of light, a gigantic hand, covered in scales and eyes, was slowly reaching out. That hand was so massive, just a single finger, was already 100 meters long. Following it was an incomparably huge skull. It was a face beyond description, covered in compound eyes, with green acidic fluid dripping from its mouth. The system's red warning frame almost completely took over my vision. Level 3 civilization. I took a deep breath. Interesting. The giant monster hadn't fully emerged yet. It had only squeezed out half its body, yet it already crammed this entire underwater space full. Its countless compound eyes stared fixedly at me. It emitted a sound that directly impacted brainwaves, causing mental collapse and panic. I raised an eyebrow. What do you want with me? What? You want to inherit my debts? Hand over the source seed. Otherwise destruction. The monster roared, reaching out its giant hand to grab me. This slap carries the power of spatial confinement rules. There's no dodging it. I feel like the space around me is completely frozen. My body can't move an inch. To purchase the ownership of the Earth plane requires 100 trillion tycoon points. The host's current balance is insufficient. Who said I wanted to buy Earth? My eyes snap wide open. The golden light in my eyes shifts into the ashen gray of chaos. What I want to buy is this exact moment. 1 second of protagonist's halo. Host's intent detected. Unlocking special item. Child of the plane privilege. Valid for 10 seconds. Price. All remaining assets. Proceed with the exchange? That's hundreds of trillions. I don't hesitate for a second. Exchange. If the money's gone, I can earn it back. But if I lose my life, or if Earth blows up, then it's game over for real. For these 10 seconds, you are the absolute daddy of this universe. An indescribable, earth-shattering power surges through my body. The feeling of spatial confinement shatters in an instant. I make my move. I don't dodge that giant hand at all. Instead, I charge straight at it. The trident in my hand is vanished, replaced by a very ordinary-looking non-stick frying pan. That's right, this is the system's complementary luck-based divine artifact. Let me smash you to pieces. I let out a furious roar. The non-stick pan in my hand slams brutally against the finger of that abyssal lord monster. A crisp, metallic clang rings out. An unbelievable scene unfolds. The abyssal lord, possessing star-destroying combat power, known as a level 3 civilization lifeform, actually got its finger snapped in half by a single swing of this pan. The monster lets out a guttural roar, filled with sheer panic and excruciating pain. It can't comprehend this. This isn't scientific at all. I'm not done yet. My figure flashes, instantly appearing right in front of the monster's giant eye. This hit is for all the people you've killed. A massive compound eye bursts apart. Green slime splatters everywhere. This hit is because you're so damn ugly that you scared my Yunshu. Another eye explodes, and this hit is for turning me into a broke-ass beggar. I'm like a speed-hacked remix video. The pan in my hand turns into countless afterimages. In just a few short seconds, I aim straight at that colossal face, frantically unleashing thousands of strikes. Every single attack triggers an absolute critical hit, absolute stun, and absolute armor penetration. Abyssal Lord Shiyuan is beaten senseless by me. He even feels a fear he hasn't experienced in ages. This human is not normal. This power is a karmic attack that transcends all rules. Get back to your cesspool. At the very last moment, I leap high into the air, exhausting every last ounce of my strength, and swing the pan right into the monster's forehead. Get out of here. Some abyssal lord you are. That colossal body actually takes the full brunt of the blow and is smashed right back into that pitch-black vortex. I will return. The monster roars in sheer resentment, but its body plummets helplessly into the abyss. While the vortex hasn't closed yet, I pull a card out from my jacket. The dual-vector foil, Youth Edition I redeemed from the shop. Here's a little gift. To keep you company on the way down. I casually toss the slip of paper into the vortex. Goodbye. The vortex violently contracts, and under the effect of that paper, space begins to collapse and undergo dimensional reduction. The passage that originally led to the abyss instantly turns into a painting, a completely flat oil painting floating in the void. Inside the painting is the monster's face, frozen in absolute terror. Everything returns to peace. Child of the Plane mode ended. Congratulations to the host for completing the God Slayer achievement. Current assets, 0. Standing amidst the empty ruins at the bottom of the sea, looking at the scattered devastation, I smack my lips. Chich, that was too impulsive. I pat my pockets, and sure enough, I don't have a single cent left. I don't even have cab fare back to Jiangcheng. I sigh helplessly. Right then, a submarine slowly approaches. It's Su Yanshu. She's piloting the escaped pod of the Tianfa No. 8. Down to pick me up. The moment the hatch opens, Yanshu recklessly swims out, throwing her arms around me. We won. We actually won. We won all right, but Yunshu, I've got some bad news for you. What is it? Yunshu looks at me nervously. I'm bankrupt. I'm completely broke. Not a penny to my name. A certified penniless beggar. Yunshu freezes for a moment, then bursts out laughing. Amidst the water, she cups my face and plants a kiss on my lips. It's okay. You took care of me before. From now on, I'll take care of you. Don't forget, I'm currently the chairwoman of the Song Group, the Sioux Group, and the Atlantic Bank. Looks like I'm officially a kept man now. The two of us swim up to the surface, looking at the sunlight we haven't seen in so long. The stormy Pacific Ocean is finally calm. However, I know this peace is only temporary. The parting words of Abyssal Lord Shi Yuan, along with the system's hint about the origin seed, all point to a much greater secret. What exactly is the system? Why are all those higher dimensional beings fighting over it? Host detected to have completed all Phase 2 combat missions. Unlocking Ultimate Mission. The origin of the system. Host is required to proceed to Death Valley in the Kunlun Mountains. I stare at the virtual panel in front of me, my gaze turning solemn. The remains of the previous host? It seems the finale of this story isn't just a simple tycoon's comeback, but a chess game that's been set up for 10,000 years. Yunshu, let's head home and pack up. It's time for our final stop. I look toward the distant horizon. Time to pull back the curtain on the truth behind all of this. Death Valley in the Kunlun Mountains, a place known as the Gates of Hell. Lightning tears through the sky year-round, and the magnetic field is incredibly chaotic. Countless herders and explorers have lost their lives here. The thunder in this place is more violent than ever before. A purple lightning bolt rips across the sky, striking ruthlessly at the snow-covered valley floor. A colossal, pitch-black warship, the Tianfa, ignoring the lightning storm that could obliterate a tank in an instant, stands tall, like a mobile steel fortress, slowly descending into the depths of Death Valley. The hatch opens, and the freezing wind howls. I hold Su Yunshu's hand as we step outside. I'm no longer wearing my previous battle armor, just a simple black windbreaker, but my gaze right now is even deeper than the ice and snow of Kunlun. Is this the end? Yunshu looks at the scattered carcasses of cattle before us, unable to suppress a shudder of fear. It's the end, but also the beginning. I check the system radar on my wrist. The glowing dot representing the origin seed on the screen is flashing bright red, indicating its location is right beneath our feet. Let's get to work. Yang Yi and the Shadow Legion have been on standby for a while. They operate 2 massive laser drills, aiming them straight at the gigantic black rock at the bottom of the valley, and begin cutting. The rock gradually melts under the intense heat, and an earth-shattering secret slowly reveals itself to the world. That's not a rock at all. It's an ancient, majestic bronze warship that has been buried underground for who knows how many tens of thousands of years. Its design carries an ancient, weathered look, its surface densely engraved with intricate cloud and thunder patterns, and the bow is shaped like an incredibly ferocious dragon's head. Despite the erosion of time, it still exudes a suffocating imperial aura. This is the style of the Qin dynasty. Could the legends about Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum be more than just legends? I take a deep breath, pull Yunshu by the hand, and jump into the newly cut trench. Welcome to the flagship of the First Emperor. The interior of the warship isn't as dark as I imagined. The moment I step into the main control room, countless eternal lamps, which are actually nuclear photosynthetic cold light lamps, automatically light up. Right in the center of the hall stands a throne forged from black gold. And on that throne sits a skeleton draped in a black dragon robe. Even though he has been reduced to white bones, he still maintains a posture with his hands resting on a longsword. his gaze looking down upon the heavens with disdain. The sheer dominance of my fate is mine to decide, not the heavens, transcends 2,000 years of history, still making one instinctively want to kneel in submission. Floating in front of the skeleton is a crystal emitting a soft white glow. That is the civilization origin seed. System, is this your previous host? I asked softly. The system's cold, mechanical voice now carries a trace of human-like sorrow. The first emperor, Ying Zheng, alias Zulong. System version 1, civilization hegemony, cause of death. To resist the first wave of abyssal invasion, he exhausted all his system points, forcibly draining his life force to activate the 9 provinces barrier, ultimately dying from total exhaustion. Hearing this, a profound sense of reverence swells in my heart. So the purpose of building the Great Wall wasn't just to defend against these Xiaonu, but to fend off the predators descending from the stars. Right then, the origin seed suddenly vibrates violently. A holographic projection shoots out from the skeleton. It's a middle-aged man radiating absolute majesty. Even though it's just an illusion, those eyes seem capable of piercing through eons of time and space. I have waited long for a successor. The voice of the first emperor, Ying Zheng, echoes throughout the hall, its tone rich with the deep, ancient resonance of the Qin region. By the time you see this projection, we have surely passed on. We unified the 6 states, standardized the writing and the axles of carts, thinking, we could usher in eternal peace for Huaxia. Little did we know, there are heavens beyond our heavens. Those greedy predators, the abyss. They had their eyes on Earth's coordinates. We exhausted the nation's strength to forge the 12 golden men, a legion of giant mechas, along with the Great Wall orbital cannon array. Though we temporarily repelled them, we knew they would eventually rear their ugly heads again. We left behind this origin seed. It records our unfulfilled ambitions and seals the final legacy we leave behind. If you are someone who holds the world in your heart, then fuse with it and protect this beautiful land in our stead. The hologram gradually fades and vanishes. I stand in silence for a long time, then take a step forward, reaching out to grasp the origin seed. My eyes are resolute. Rest easy, ancestor. The war you couldn't finish, I'll fight it for you. The money you couldn't spend, I'll spend it for you. In the blink of an eye, the origin seed merges into my palm. A massive influx of data floods into my brain. It contains the frontline experiences of the mission, the essence of ancient technology, and above all, the defense authority for the entire Earth. Origin seed fusion successful. The ultimate form of the Tycoon system, activating Earth Online Administrator mode. Congratulations, host. You have inherited the legacy of the first emperor. Current account balance, immeasurable by numbers, because what you have inherited is the entire destiny and profound history of Huaxia. At the exact moment I fuse with the origin seed, a sudden anomaly occurs outside. The sky above the Kunlun Mountains shatters instantly. This time, it's not just minor rifts like before. The entire sky is dyed a blood-red hue. Countless colossal, pitch-black warships swarm like locusts, pouring out from the dimensional rift. It's the main fleet of the abyssal civilization. They've finally locked onto Earth's coordinates and launched their all-out assault. Warning! Warning! Level 0 strike detected descending on the plane. Enemy fleet count, 100,000 ships. Countdown to Earth's destruction, 10 minutes. Yunshu looks at the alarm device on her wrist, her face pale. Are we really going to survive this time? That's 100,000 interstellar warships. I slowly open my eyes. My pupils have now turned a brilliant gold, radiating the absolute majesty of an administrator. I glance at my personal account, which has returned to a big fat 0, then look up at the system panel, where the legacy account section is glowing brilliantly. I chuckle. Fight? Why do we need to fight? If the ancestor missed such a massive legacy, it's so I can go all out and spend it. I hold Yunshu's hand and step out of the ancient ship, standing on the highest peak of Death Valley, face to face with the alien fleet swarming down and blotting out the sky. I raise my hand and snap my fingers loudly toward the heavens. System, I want to spend some money. Awaiting host command. I want to buy this entire segment of history. Awaken the 12 golden men. Awaken the Great Wall, the planetary defense array. Awaken the million terracotta warriors. The elite Phantom Legion. Payment method. 5,000 years of Huaxia's national destiny. Payment successful. Initiating awakening. In Xi'an, Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum begins to quake violently. The earth cracks open, and mounds of dirt explode with a deafening roar. Those aren't clay statues. The layer of mud and dirt encasing tens of thousands of terracotta warriors instantly peels away, revealing nanometal bodies, gleaming with a bone-chilling cold light. Their eyes glow with a menacing red light, and the bronze weapons in their hands instantly transform into plasma blades. Their battle cries echo, shaking the very heavens and earth. A million mechanical warriors soar into the sky. At the same time, at the Shanyang ruins, 12 colossal bronze warrior mechas, thousands of meters tall, burst from the ground. Every single machine that appears radiates, terrifying energy waves on par with a nuclear power plant. Wielding giant swords and long spears, they looked just like ancient demon gods awakening from their slumber. Even more astonishingly, the ancient, winding walls of the Great Wall, stretching for 10,000 miles, now blaze with a blinding golden light. Bricks and stones fall away, revealing a superconducting laser cannon array that has been buried for 2,000 long years. What? What is this? The commander of the abyssal fleet in the sky stares down at the planet that has suddenly come alive below, so terrified that its tentacles stiffen completely. Who gave you bastards permission to look down on our empire? My voice, amplified by the origin seed, echoes across the entire globe, even striking directly, with a booming crash into the brains of every single alien. I swing my arm up. Kill them all. The Great Wall transforms into a colossal golden dragon. Countless antimatter beams shoot straight into the blue sky, instantly vaporizing the entire vanguard fleet of the aliens, leaving not a single fragment behind. This is the ultimate roar of fury from Earth's civilization, directed at those bloodthirsty predators. I stand at the peak of Kunlun, admiring the most spectacular fireworks display in the world. Yunshu, isn't it beautiful? Yunshu is staring in awe, her eyes blurred with tears. It's beautiful. This is the most expensive fireworks display I've ever seen. It's not over yet. I stare intently at the largest flagship in the sky, the Abyssal Mothership. Since I've got a reputation for blowing money, I might as well go all the way. I raise my hand once more. System. Final purchase. I want to buy Earth's Ascension. Push this planet up to a level 4 civilization zone for me. Payment confirmed. Consuming all remaining. Destiny. Loading planetary engine. Loading. Quantum shield. Loading karmic weapons. The 12 Titan Golden Men leap into the clouds. With every swing of the massive weapons in their hands, they cleave apart and detonate motherships thousands of miles long. The million phantom terracotta warriors, like a pitch-black tsunami, crash straight into the enemy formation, kicking off an incredibly brutal close-quarters slaughter. This is a bloody massacre transcending time and space. Earth's ascension begins. A beam of white light, bright enough to illuminate the entire Milky Way, erupts from deep within the Earth's core. In that very moment, the abyssal fleet is like snow meeting the blazing sun. Not even a speck of dust is left behind, directly erased by the laws of karma. Earth's volume hasn't increased at all, but its energy level at this moment has achieved a quantum leap. From this day forward, this blue planet will become a true, inviolable sanctuary in the universe. 3 months later, the abyss has retreated, and civilization has rebooted. Even though we just went through a massive war, under my super restoration powers, the cities haven't just returned to their original state, they've become even more sci-fi than before. The hanging garden on the rooftop of the SKP building has now been renovated into a crystal palace floating among the clouds. At the wedding, Su Yunshu is wearing a wedding dress named Love of a Fallen City, a wedding dress that I crafted from the core materials of the Abyssal Greatsword. Combined with deep-sea pearls, its value is immeasurable. She is breathtakingly beautiful, holding her father's arm, walking step by step toward the man at the end of the red carpet. Me, Lin Chuan. Now, I am recognized as the chief of Earth, the guardian deity of human civilization. Even so, I'm still smiling brightly like a young boy, with eyes only for the bride walking toward me. Little Xiao Tangguo, wearing an adorable flower girl dress, is toddling behind, holding up her mother's train, grinning from ear to ear. Elder Ji, acting as the officiant, is so moved that his cheeks are flushed red. Mr. Lin Chuan, do you take Miss Su Yunshu to be your lawfully wedded wife, for richer or for poorer? The moment he mentions poorer, the guest below let out good-natured chuckles. Who in this world doesn't know that even though my personal bank account balance is currently 0, I literally own the entire Earth? I look deeply into Yunshu's eyes and say affectionately, I do. Miss Su Yunshu, do you take Mr. Lin Chuan to be your husband? 4. I do. Before Elder Ji can even finish, Yunshu eagerly interrupts, making the whole hall burst into roaring laughter. Amidst a shower of falling peach blossoms and thunderous cheers, we hold each other tightly and share a passionate kiss. Right at this moment, the long-absent system notification chimes in my head. Congratulations, host, for completing all main quests. The mission of the God-tier Tycoon system is now complete. Unbinding process will now begin to seek the spark of the next civilization. Parting gift. The golden pupils and your peak physical physique will be retained. Goodbye. Wishing you a lifetime of happiness. I freeze for a moment. Unbinding? The system that has been with me, turning the tides from a mere delivery guy to the king of this world, is really gone. A slight sense of loss wells up inside me, but very quickly I feel relieved, because I can feel Yunshu's warmth in my arms, hear Xiao Tangguo's ringing laughter, and see the sincere blessings from the crowd below. I don't need the system anymore. I already possess the most precious treasures in the world. Lin Chuan, what's wrong? Yunshu notices me spacing out and asks softly. I snap back to reality, look at the woman I love so deeply in front of me, and give her my brightest smile. It's nothing, My secret stash just got confiscated, that's all. Yunshu bursts into a giggle, leaning close to my ear, her breath sweet. It's okay, tonight, I'm all yours. Besides, the 100 trillion in profits from the company, I've transferred it all into this card. The password is your birthday. She secretly slips a card into my hand. I look at the card in my hand, then at my sweet, blushing wife. Suddenly, I realize that living off my wife isn't so bad after all. Wifey, let's go on our honeymoon. Where to? I heard the sunsets on Mars are beautiful. Since we already bought Earth, we might as well go pioneer Mars while we're at it. You're so bad, you absolute spendthrift. The sun is shining, the breeze is gentle. I sweep Yunshu up into my arms, and under the witness of the whole world, step toward a happy future that belongs only to us. And the legend of the greatest god-tier tycoon in history will forever be told beneath this brilliant starry sky.